It's a Friday morning. Welcome to the AM News. My name is Pakwesi Shandoff. Minister for Lands and the Natural Resources, Samuel Abujinapo, is asking the various security councils at the regional and district levels to step up efforts in dealing with illegal mining. This comes after the minister admitted the resurgence of illegal mining activities in the country following a visit to an illegal mining site at Galamsey Central District. Is therefore assured local assemblies of government support in their efforts to halt the menace. Nanaya Ojima joined the minister to visit the sites after a military swoop.
Jinapo says the government, at a point in the fight against illegal mining, had stepped authority, especially after declaring water bodies and forests red zones. He says government is bent on winning the fight despite the setback, tasking the MMDCs to step up efforts.
That the fight against illegal mining can only be won if it is a collective action, if we all collectively put our weights and put our support behind the fight. And I've made this point over and over again. Mining, with the greatest of respect, in all humility and modesty, is never conducted in an office. Mining is conducted in the countryside. It's conducted out there. And if it's conducted out there, the people who are responsible for the various jurisdictions in the country, with the greatest of respect, are the people who should come to grips with this matter. But there it is the message that I'm here delivering, which the President himself will be coming next week to deliver and to seek for your support, cooperation, and collaboration for us to come to grips with this matter.
Per the devastation on the ground, illegal mining in the Galamsey Central has persisted for years without any restrictions. Deep pits, similar to those dug by regular mining companies, are dotted over the area. Land, likened to the size of a town, is completely destroyed by the illegal mining activities. A swoop by the military on Monday at Manso Datano resulted in the confiscation of 6 excavators. Lands Minister Samuel Abujinapo, visiting the area for the first time, expressed shock at the speed of devastation.
It should baffle all of us as citizens, as policy makers, and as stakeholders in this fight, how an operation like this in the heart of the forest and in the faraway areas of our country can go on without notice by the police, the chiefs, the local political leadership, assembly people, the district chief executive, for example, and I should dare say even the Inspectorate Division of the Minerals Commission here. And these are questions that I, as minister, am going to be seeking answers for. How is it the case that such an operation can be mounted and such level of devastation can happen when there is a district outfit of the Minerals Commission who should have an Inspectorate Division?
Meanwhile, the General Officer Commanding of the Central Command, Brigadier General Joseph Afo, says intelligence gathered has revealed the eagerness of miners to return after the exit of the military. He called for a sustained effort to deal with the menace.
We come on recognizance sometimes once, twice, just to confirm locations. And sometimes the Mineral Commission also gives us coordinates and the areas that they think are so bad. So, we've done it a couple of times, but it appears it has to be sustained. So from the directions from the Honorable Minister, we did this operation on Monday and we are still continuing. But the interviews that we've had with citizens and locals within this catchment area tells us that their livelihoods, particularly their water and their farms, have been devastated. So I believe that the war against the environment will be won. And I know with the assurance from the Honorable Minister, we will actually succeed. Of course, but it has to be sustained. And I believe he will ensure that we sustain this operation.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
The Linguistics Association of Ghana, LAG, is exploring ways to make Ghanaian dialects more relevant to society. President of LAG, Dr. Elvis Rescue, observes a low impact of language and literature studies on societal development. He therefore believes that indigenous languages are less appreciated as compared to other courses of study.
Elvis Rescue believes indigenous languages are less appreciated as compared to other courses of study. The Linguistics Association of Ghana, LAG, held the 14th annual conference in collaboration with the Departments of English and Language and Communication Sciences at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. The three-day conference, slated to end on September 30th, was on the theme Linguistics, Language and Literature, Future Horizons. The LAG conference seeks to bring together a multidisciplinary lens for people working in science and technology to explore the best practices of language infusion beneficial to society. It also brought together scholars who are interested in language and literary studies.
So for this year's conference, our theme is on language, linguistics and literature, future horizons. And our aim for this conference is to bring together ways that we can further explore language and literature in a way that is societally relevant, in the sense that in recent times there has been issues pertaining to the interest in studies of language and literature, but it's mundane in the sense that it's not focusing on issues that are pertinent to our society. So for this year's conference, as we've also heard as part of the plenary speech from Professor Yao Sechibedu, we are forced and challenged to think beyond what language is and what literature is to make it relevant to societal needs. So how are people being communicated to, for instance, regarding COVID-19, and how is that influencing participation in terms of vaccination and all that? So language permeates every aspect of society. So for this year's conference, we want to challenge the status quo. We want to push the boundaries of language and literary studies so that people will be able to appreciate what language is. So students who go out there to read our indigenous languages like Akan, Ewe, Ga, Dagomba, and all that, their relevance is not really there for the society to see because they think it's just language. However, we do know that effective communication is the basis of everything that we do as a society. So we want to really challenge the status quo to make sure that people would appreciate language studies and literary studies within all aspects of STEM and STEAM.
Well, the Ministry of Education is introducing new policies to transform the system in Ghana. Minister Dr. Yao Osei-Duchun believes this initiative should start from the various teacher training colleges. It's asking teacher training colleges to inculcate critical thinking skills in trainees. There's more in the following report.
The inauguration of the governing councils of 13 colleges of education in Accra Thursday announced the education system in Ghana is being reconstructed and new policies are being introduced. He therefore charged various teacher training colleges to also change their teaching methods to fit in.
I think it's so important that you don't tame the teachers for them to go and tame the students. Invariably, colleges of education are super supervising the trainees in such a way that they have no freedom to be assertive and to be innovative. In some schools I hear they can't bring phones. In some schools I hear they have to wear uniforms. In some schools I hear they kneel down when they are late to class. If those are the teachers for the 21st century Ghana, then we're in trouble. Because they will go to the classroom and do same. The education space in Ghana is changing, and therefore, the responsibility is now shifted to you to do the change so that you can also fit into the education system.
He disclosed that the ministry is considering reintroducing the single-track system and ending the double-track system, which he admitted has not been helpful.
We're going to get rid of the double track at colleges of education. You're all going to go single track. I'm told it's not working the way it should. So no college will be going double track. You're all going to go single track. You may have to cut enrollment for this year before your hostel comes. So be it. We are not going to allow a situation where we have a system that is not improving instruction.
He also urged the governing councils to leave their comfort zones and apply for sponsorship from international donors if they want to transform their colleges.
If you want to be the best you can be. There are some who say, oh, the government is not giving it to us and he wants us to be. I tell you, if you want to be the best you can be. Most of the things we are doing, we did not go for extra resources. I was determined that the Ghanaian school environment should be different. So I was able to repurpose loans, grants that were already there so that we can do this. because I wanted us to have that. If you want something so bad, divine providence on your side, with the support of the ministry, you can be. But if you say to yourself, oh, forget about them, the politicians, they just suck, then your institution will not be the best.
Justice Awabuafo's report read to you.
The Afadjato South District Assembly in the Volta region has introduced an initiative to reserve and skilled labor jobs for persons with disabilities. This is to help economically empower PWDs in the jurisdiction to enhance their livelihoods and that of their families. The Afadjato South MCE Etonam James Flolu announced this when startup kits were provided to some 40 PWDs.
The disbursement of the District Assembly Disability Fund is aimed to position PWDs to engage in economic activities to earn a living for themselves, making them self-reliant. Distribution of the items, which is the second of its kind under the District Chief Executive, Etonam James Flolu's administration, saw 40 beneficiaries provided with grinding machines, agro inputs, deep freezers, carpentry tools, laptops, and a printer. Those who received kiosks were given an additional 1,500 Ghana cedis to stock the kiosks with items they desire to trade. The Afadjato South District Chief Executive, Etonam James Flolu, detailed that the initiative is geared towards the growth of the microeconomy of the district.
So we are going to keep an eye on them. We receive some staff to boost the staff strength of the office, and they need to go around and give us reports. First of all, we'll take reports on the establishment of all these things, and then from time to time, maybe every month or twice or every quarter, we come up with a reporting system to know exactly what they're doing. We need to reserve some sort of jobs for them. So the current district hospital that is going on, we're going to speak to the Ghana Health Service to make sure that some of the jobs that some of these our friends and brothers and sisters can do, we'll reserve it for them, like filling forms, writing all these things. They can do it so that all in all, we make sure that we drag everybody along on this developmental agenda that is being championed by my government, headed by His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.
The Afadjato South District Disability Fund Management Representative, Reverend Lord Sintagboja, entreated the beneficiaries to make profitable use of the startup kits to enhance their livelihoods. A beneficiary, Evans Jogbati, was optimistic the items provided to him would help shape his path to success as a young graphic designer.
I've been expecting this not today, but today God being so good, I have it. And then as I've been desperately looking for this and I've gotten it, I think my work or what my aim of having it or requesting for it, I mean, it's already successful.
I am super excited. I used to roam the community with my wares. Because I am blind, it was difficult for me to cross the roads. The children also steal the items when I display them at the roadside. 2021, I had a baby. 2022, I have been given a kiosk which will be stocked. Thank you and God bless you. Fred Kwame Asai, JoyNews. Oh.
5 communities in the Yendi municipality have been connected to the national grid. Residents in these communities in the past have had to travel several kilometers to other communities to mail their flour or charge their mobile phones. Economic activities which demanded the use of power did not exist because of the lack of electricity. Martina Bugre reports.
Speaking on the sidelines of the commission, Member of Parliament for the Yendi constituency, Alhaji Farouk Aliu Muhammad, said the commission will be done in phases and 15 communities will be connected to the national grid before the end of the year.
President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's government is manifesting in Yendi constituency. We are today touring to electrify areas that have been out of electricity. We are commissioning 5 communities today to make sure we bring in the electrification project to an improvement level of Yeni constituency. Today, what we are doing, we want to Bago, we are now in Yimagu, and we are here to commission 3 communities. It's all part of the first phase of the commission of the electrification project for Yeni. We are going to do almost 15 communities before the year ends. That is not the rest. We have other communities we are going to improve. They are whatever, and we will make sure that we improve the electrification project for them, and that's what we are doing today. The government of Ghana is part of the SHEP program that the government has been doing through the Ministry of Energy, and it's something that's been done by cable Ghanaian companies that are running all this work, but the ECG people are those who are doing it. And we're educating the people to learn how to use the meters and also make sure they pay their bills so that development will come to them. You can see that people are happy. So in 2 weeks' time, myself and the chairman and all the executives are going to move. The MC has given an indication on Sunday we are doing an electrification. We are going to do almost 50 communities. And trust me, by the end of the 2024, almost 35 communities in Yendi will be covered with electricity. And it's just going to be by mouth, but by deeds and action oriented. And we are going to be manifesting with the actuals. And that is what we are manifesting today. And we will make sure that light comes to every nook and cranny of the constituency.
A nurse working in Yimagu, one of the beneficiary communities, Abdullah Ziblim, said they will be relieved of the difficulties they faced in the past without electricity. He said they had to conduct delivery with torchlights in the past and store their vaccines in other communities.
I find it easy because sometimes they will bring a pregnant woman here for labor. I have to conduct delivery using torchlights. Even I'll use phone. Because there's no lights here. We normally serve our store our organization antigens facility. When we are in need of it, we'll go and take it. And sometimes, even the mothers, they get upstairs. I have to go to Umbalaga and take ice pack in order to absorb those things. In fact, when they said they are coming to on the lights, I was very happy.
A resident of Oyando, Mboja Andrew, said they traveled to Bungbalga to charge their phones, adding that it will be a thing of a pass.
When there was no light in Oyando here, we were facing a lot of challenges. In fact, anytime that I thought that we were having, let's say, battery low, we have to send our phones to Bungbalga for charging. In fact, it's not only that. And when students come from school from town to Oyando here, how to learn was a big problem to everybody. Even me myself, when I was a student at that time, I was still facing, even as at now, I'm a teacher and I face that kind of challenge. Whenever I'm to do my, let's say, research, more research, or to do, let's say, lesson plans, it's a big problem to me. But today, we thank God, light has come to the Oyando community, which will solve and which has solved all these problems.
In recent times, President Akufo-Addo has been trending on social media after being booed at the Global Citizens Festival. But guess who took the president's heat? K.T. Hammond, Member of Parliament for Asokwa. He's been battling social media since Tuesday after criticizing the youth for being unruly and disrespectful. Why would K.T. Hammond choose to go against the tide and defend the president? JoyNews features editor Jojo Kobna has been searching for the appropriate answers.
There's Asha 2, Asha 3, Asha 1. Who is this girl? Asha this, Asha that, Asha that. What is it about there?
Member of Parliament for Asokwa, Kobna Tahir Hammond, is in Parliament for the 6th term. His long stay in Parliament has earned him a nickname.
Honorable K.T. Hammond, yes, it is true that you were installed by word of mouth as the senior prefect of the House.
His long tenure has been punctuated with controversies. Remember his voter region, voter registration comment.
Togolese and the Votarians, when I'm talking about it's voter region. I mean, there is the kind of, remember the history, Professor, if you guys know the history about this place, basically the same tribe. So they walk in, come, but they are not Ghanaians. And when they walk in there, they can do whatever they do. So I guess that is the reason for that. See, there's a classic example. You remember 2008, the second round? we had so much, 100,000 or so votes leading from Samuel at the time of second round. The next round, one constituency, what's the name? Which one? No. Ketu South also, it cleared all the listen. It cleared all the whatever we had. Where did they come from? You see, so everybody from whatever they came to vote.
He later fought back, arguing that his words were taken out of context.
Do you then regret making those statements?
Nonsense. What do you mean by, you see, you are compounding the situation by this question you just asked. Why do I regret when I was stating a fact? I was stating a fact to the effect that the people from Togo, Togolese are not Ghanaians. Unless, of course, you have some definition of Togolese, which means Ghana. I don't know.
To the media, he is friendly and a frank interviewee. He is always ready to give a jab or two to his opponents.
He was playing with the big, inflammable fire.
And so what would be your advice to him now?
Oh, go where you been. I said, when Katia comes to his office, what does he come there to do? But who stops and says, you can't put handcuff around and say, don't Katia's legs and hands, even though General Mosquito, if I could, Katia, if I could, I would wrap him up in whatever and throw him away. But you can't.
When the public protested Parliament's plans to build a new parliamentary chamber, K.T. Hammond was one of the MPs who staunchly defended the decision.
Parliament won't sit under trees. So, Mr. Speaker, this whole matter, I think, should be brought to the fore. Let it be debated.
When the youth at the Global Citizens Festival booed President Akufo-Addo, all his ardent supporters remained deafeningly silent. To defend the president, K.T. Hammond chose to swim against the tide.
Too much shouting connotes an absence of intelligent thinking. So, we're always shouting and shouting, you're not thinking, you know what I mean? You're not thinking. Who doesn't know that times are hard? Asambani yesi ye kwa kampa yesi ye kwa kohu abrewa yanka se ye kohu mono na muguo na muti aye yesi nkube na muguo no nyamu ne yesi ye kohu mu yesi ye kwa kohu abrewa no eye penin.
In spite of an avalanche of social media attacks, he holds his ground.
Look, the future is for the youth. It's yours, all right. When we're all gone, you would have been taken over from us. Don't rush to want to take us over from us right now. We won't let you. We won't give you because you can't run the government alone.
K.T. Hammond is a friend like no other. He loves the Black Stars, but there's one player he's not happy with.
As a modern reported me to President Kufuor that I'd made statements to the effect that they were messing with our hearts. I wasn't there, but Mr. Speaker, even walls have years. Those who were there came and told me, my friend, you were in trouble. What about that? I said, no, they reported you to the president. So I waited for a call, and the call didn't come. I've never been happy with Asamoah up to today. And come to think about it, look at what he did to us, a penalty.
I have come to one conclusion. K.T. Hammond is one man who cannot be gagged. Jojo Kobna, JoyNews.
Who is this girl?
That's all for the bulletin this morning. For more, log on to www.myjoyonline.com. Do have a pleasant week. My name is Shandoff. I leave you now in the company of Benjamin Akakpo and Mapito CBD. Stay.
Thank you for staying with us. Time now for us to get into the papers that we have. And it's a full house this morning. Introducing, right next to me, Mapito CBD.
Good morning.
Always beaming, looking fantabulous.
Thank you.
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about you?
I'm good. I'm the cheese in between two brown slices.
You really want to put out that analogy?
Yeah. So I'm the cheese. Yeah.
And we're the what? Slices of bread.
Yeah, the brown slices of bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. He doesn't follow Western. I would have said he would be a slice of ham, but
No.
But it's good to have a cheese.
But let me introduce you first.
Oh, that do I need an introduction? I don't need it.
The celebrities high town. You don't need to be told.
Yeah.
Samuel Kojo
Let me
Braves.
start introducing myself.
That's right. Do it. Do it.
So my name is Samuel Kojo Braves.
That's right.
I'm that a hunter boy here.
That's right.
Soon to be a doctor.
That's right.
In future, so I'll be
Please,
called
which one of the doctors? Is it a
PhD?
Okay. Pull him down.
No. Proper PhD.
Okay.
In climate change and agriculture.
Hey.
Yeah, that's what it is. And then I'm the first son of my mother, so yeah.
It's fine.
Which one else?
Since you speak of a Greek, I'll not give details.
Do you have?
I have one.
Okay.
But the thing is that you see, you are unofficially the housewife.
Of course, of course. And
Did you just say of course?
Yeah, definitely.
I am here.
Oh no, but this one is my babe. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See the action.
Shromanubi. Some of them. Manubi. Fear them. It will take you to a hunter.
I want to go there.
And I'm not saying it's a way, but when he takes you there, I know a few things. This gentleman here. Okay, no problem.
So I always tell him that when he speaks, he's Fanti. Chale, I really feel like Fanti is the sexiest language in Ghana. Like Chale, when he starts speaking, and it's Brace! And he's got some accents, B.
So it's the Fanti he used to get you?
Oh, yeah.
Charlie, nah, it's okay. We'll do that after.
But you know, I know you own some equipment B that is used for different kinds of.
I
own
nothing.
We beg you.
I own nothing.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into the papers. This morning I have the Daily Graphic, the Daily Statesman. What do you have?
I have the Daily Guide. I have the Publisher, Brace.
I have the Ghanaian Times and the Finder.
Okay.
But Ben, before we go into the papers, I have an issue I would want to bring to your attention and the attention of. And there was a story that was carried in the New Crusading Guide yesterday.
Right.
It's a Chinese hijacked gold mine at Wasachempim against local content law. And it's something that I really hope the ministry and government will avert their mind to. That is a company in the Wasa area, it's Golden Star Resources. The paper says that they are gathering information that a Chinese company has bought that company.
Okay.
But the law also says that you need to have some local content in there. Now, according to information, the company is replacing even positions that were held by Ghanaians with Chinese.
Oh, wow.
Again, local companies that were like supplying materials to, so like contractors, they are now being replaced. So the company is importing materials directly from China, and they feel that it's against the law. It doesn't help in the country generating the needed revenue, because if I am a company supplying to Golden Star Resources, I'll definitely be paying taxes.
Yeah.
If I lose this business, it means that Ghana will not be getting the taxes that I will be contributing to the economy. So it's something that the government needs to avert its mind to.
Yeah.
The issue is, per the information that we've gathered, it's not a very pretty one. Once the Chinese have started bringing in people to replace Ghanaians, we should go into it and look at how we can solve it here, because at the end, we are looking at Ghanaians getting the requisite experience so that they can, because the law even says that Ghanaians need to be trained so that they can replace the expatriate. It's in the mining and the oil industry. Train locals so that they can become experts in the industry. But if this is happening, then the government needs to.
When I hear of these instances, it just rubs my craw. And the point is, this shouldn't even happen.
Yeah.
That's the whole point. When you go to other jurisdictions, I just don't get it. You have the law. The law says what it does. Yet people can get away because there's no supervision. People can get away with murder. And yesterday I heard Someone, I just have to be sure, because on the back of the Land and Natural Resources Minister inviting his 5 colleague ministers, the regional ministers, I think Eastern, Western, North, Ashanti, and all of that. He then starts talking about, sometimes, I don't know whether it was the Lands and Natural Resources Minister, so let me stay away.
It was the Lands and Natural Resources.
But then he makes mention of the fact, this point, I just have to be sure.
Okay.
He makes the point that they try, and that in some instances, I think it was the Major General that was spoken to. Sometimes they apprehend locals and it's easy to get them, and then the excavators, if they can't be moved, they are burnt, and then others are moved away. But that usually with the Chinese, they are very slippery, they are very creepy, so to speak, and they are able to make their way out. And I'm thinking, aren't they human beings like the Ghanaians you are able to apprehend? How smooth are they in this criminality, So I don't know. It's almost as though we were selective with the application of the law. And in many ways, I feel we are. Because look, there are political elements today in Galamsey that we are talking about.
Oh, exactly.
Why are they not being dealt with?
Exactly.
So if you come and tell me I'll put my presidency on the line, but you have the heads of political activists within your party that should be on the chopping block, and they are not there, let's get into the paper.
Interesting. So the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources should look into this Wassa Mines thing.
Yeah.
So that we can put, all matters to rest. We can build our country peacefully.
Let's get into
the build our country peacefully. Let's go to the Daily
Guide.
Guide. And the big story there is that Chinese slashes workers' throat over salary. Very interesting story there. And we also have lead Galamsey fight. Government charges MMDCEs. We also have Ghana's internet costly, yet the quality is the worst. That is a survey. But let's go to that big story. Chinese slashes workers' throat over salary. A concrete mixing machine operator, Isaac Watson, popularly known as Boat, had his throat slashed with a sharp knife, allegedly by a Chinese employer when he, Boat, was asking for his monthly salary. Now, the Chinese national owns a construction company that is near Sekindi, and one of the workers who confirmed the incident said it happened at about 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday. He pointed out about 80 workers of this company were demanding their September salary when the unfortunate incident happened. So, comes to what you were talking about, how Ghanaians are being exploited, and now you get this unfortunate situation, because even when they're talking about the salary that they're getting, he explained that the workers are marked 2 Ghana cedis, 50 pesos per hour daily, and are paid on the 28th day of every month. So if you...
So there's 50 pesos per hour.
Per hour.
What?
Can you imagine? And you can imagine the type of work that goes into this and what they do. So I think it's terrible and something
but I can tell you, the Labour Office will be doing less about this. Look, unfortunately, this is a country where people who are supposed to be protecting the citizenry are the ones aiding and abetting foreigners to
exactly so
these things on Ghanaians. Look, I've been in a meeting at one ceramic company owned by Chinese, and in this meeting, the consultant, labor consultant to the company, was the labor officer for the Western region. So the one who is supposed to ensure that the company is doing the right things for the workers is now the one who is consulting for this company. So what then will be the solution here? Because if the company is perpetrating A, and I have to ensure that the company is doing B, I am the same consultant to this company. So what am I going to do?
What am I going to do? Going to look out for himself, and
So
really unfortunate.
it's very, very interesting. Look at this one, 250 pesos per hour. How?
And this gentleman is just trying to, feed his kids, feed his, pay for his rent, and unfortunately, his throat was slashed, asking for his salary, and it's a meager salary at that. But still, let's talk about Galamsey. Lead Galamsey fights, and that's the government charging.
Can we just stay briefly on that bit, because I feel there is some impunity that is not creeping; it has fully crept into the system. And especially I have friends who are Chinese. I know people from across the world who are Chinese. But in Ghana, with the scope, even when it comes to Galamsey and their activities, they are the biggest numbers in our country. The impunity with which some of them act, it's almost as though they were more Ghanaian than we were. And that impunity is hinged on our political leaders and the scope they've given them. Look, some of our political leaders have been bought. It's hinged on our traditional leaders and some of the scope they've given them. I'm talking about our chiefs. They can't say they are not aware. And so it's feel that impunity. They feel we own the system. To the point where you can do this.
Yeah. Yesterday evening, I learned that the police have arrested this person in question. Let's see where it gets to. But I agree with your point that our leadership, I mean, from all angles, political, traditional, have really emboldened these people to be doing the things they do. They feel that we own the system because, look, there are politicians and traditional leaders who have brought in some of these Chinese to be mining on their behalf. You know that per the law, there's small-scale mining is the preserve of Ghanaians.
Yeah.
So even if you're a Nigerian, you cannot participate.
Yeah.
So how are these Chinese in the small-scale mining business? They are representing Ghanaians. So I go for a concession and I bring in Chinhua to be the one who's mining, even though my name is so. On papers, it is Samuel Brace, but in actual fact, it is Chinhua who's mining. And so Chinhua feels that I can do anything because, look, Kojo Brace is maybe a big-time politician and can do anything on my behalf. So it's a very, very murky situation, really.
It's a very, very murky situation. Still on Galamsey, lead Galamsey fight, and that's the government charging the MMDCEs. And he said that despite the numerous challenges, government has resolved that it will continue the fight to bring sanity to the small-scale mining industry. And so the minister expressed satisfaction with the work done by the ministry. He also said that military has been able to clear the site of illegal miners, demolished their infrastructure and brought the operations to a halt, adding that the team arrested some illegal miners and seized excavators and other mining equipment. So that's what government is saying, asking that MMDCs lead the charge in fighting Galamsey.
In as much as I want to applaud the Lands Minister, Samuel Abujinapo, and his deputies for what they are doing, I also feel that it's like we've done one thing too many. For example, this whole security people running after the Galamsey to arrest them and burn equipment. I think this is what we've done since we started. I mean, if we want to go back since 2017 to today, it's been security personnel running after Galamseyers, burning equipment and all of that. What has changed?
Yeah.
We need to, do that analysis to find out, has anything changed with our strategy?
Recently, we're being told about how much has been pumped into, all of this fight. And I asked myself, of the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions that have been pumped into it, what have we got back on the back of that? Where is the value for money?
So that's where I come to the point that if we leave this fight to the government as we see it. Government is all of us, we're all part of it. But we see the people in power as a government. Now, if we leave this fight to them alone, we'll never win.
At all.
The reason we will never win is that some of them are complicit in this.
That is one point, but I just have to make this point quickly. Why some people can't even do anything is that in your communities, you want to do something, you blow the whistle, you end up triggering the same political system, the same security system, and they come after you. So in the end, you don't even want to go there because guess what? The system has been shaped such that you do it and next thing you know, bullets are flying and you're being targeted.
Yeah.
So my point is that the reason I'm saying we shouldn't leave it to them alone, you see, small-scale mining, or Galamsey, is an industry that feeds a lot of people. Now, if you go to Chinchinikrom, it's just an example I'm making. The people who sell food rely on this Galamsey. The chief relies on it. The person who is into hotelier relies on the industry. So if we don't get all of these people's buying in what we are trying to do, we would send military there 100 and 1,000 times. It would never solve anything. Now, we need to let them understand that our water bodies are dying at the expense of the money we are making today. And therefore, you can make money today, but tomorrow you use the same money to heal your illnesses as a result of Galamsey. People are getting kidney-related diseases, a lot of it because of what's happening now. So we need to get these people to understand that, look, we can get the money today, but the money will be nothing tomorrow. We cannot allow the politicians alone to be doing this. Let's bring in the chiefs, let's bring on board. You know, all of us should own this. Ghanaians, we should own this as a fight for our future. Else, they will send in the military men. Nothing will change.
Nothing will change. Let me take one more last story from the Daily Guide. Now, if you're on Twitter, you know that Kiddy was in the spotlight the last 3 days. And he was in the spotlight. So this article says the internet never forgets the sugar daddy's spectacle. So Kiddy was in the spotlight. Some, what they call on Twitter, agenda boys, took some of his tweets from like 2013 to 2014, when he was a very young kid, we should add. And
when he was a kiddie.
When he was a kiddie, yeah. So when he was still a young chap, you know, who didn't know anything, so he was insulting the former president John Mahama. He was insulting quite a lot of people. So these agenda boys brought up these tweets, and now Kiddy was in the spotlight. People were firing him that we should boycott his music and all of that. And he has now come to apologize that, you know what, I was still young, I didn't know A, B, and C, but I'm a better person. I think we need to. It's just a friendly reminder that whatever you post on social media or whatever you tweet, Facebook, whatever, the internet never forgets. Yeah, because you would see nowadays that these young kids on social media will be insulting the president anyhow, you know, insulting, and which I understand, and I'm not, you know, saying that it's a good thing, but you must be careful in what you say, because tomorrow you don't know where you might be. You might be trying to president, and then your tweets are brought up, and then it ends up in a...
The simple bits, don't even go too far about this. You don't have to be prominent. A lot of people are putting content on social media that they forget. You're going for a job. I'm telling you, lots of people are losing jobs because when they check your social profile, when they look at you on social media and the things you post, they don't think this is someone who would want in our company.
Or who would represent our company.
You get it?
Well, yeah.
People are posting porn on social media. They're posting all kinds of things. And you think that, you know, no one is watching. The HR gets to know you. They go, they check you up. People are so unaware, but it's just part of the problem. But
if you're watching these TikToks, if you're watching these TikToks, you'll see that girls are posting their breasts, their bums and whatnot, which is really, really unfortunate. And another unfortunate part is that there are people who are actually consuming that content. So there's actually a market for that content.
There is.
So we also need to deal with that market. Or, you know,
On the BBC recently, there was a story about women who weren't even aware. Pictures they had posted on social media and stuff. And others would pick their pictures, put them, some videos secretly filmed, put them on certain sites and be raking, you know, money out of it when they weren't even aware. But on the bit about Kiddy criticizing John Dramani Mahama, again, I have a problem with some of these rationalizations. Look, if I criticized John Mahama for some of the things that he did. If Kiddy criticized the former president, then, because he felt things were going ill, and today, I mean, maybe he's not criticizing the current president, but you think he should. It's a matter of opinion. It's just like Akufo-Addo being booed. Like I said, I wouldn't do it, but if someone does it, it's the person's constitutional right. They have freedom of expression. Yes, you can talk about our cultural norms, mores and values and all of that, but is there any law barring them from doing that? No. So I don't get this bit about if he spoke certain things about the former president and they were correct.
But
I don't know.
It's not about
we have this
being correct.
system, avuncular system, where you can't say anything about leadership. You can't touch this. You talk about the judiciary. Oh, you can criticize us, but not like this. You talk about the executive. Oh, you're being disrespectful. You talk about the legislature and you're Charlie.
You see, the thing is, it's not about it being correct, whether former President Mahama was doing A, B, and C. It's about how he said it.
I mean, we can look at that.
But
the fundamental bit about criticizing or criticism shouldn't be a problem.
Definitely not. Brace, what do you have?
Well, the Ghanaian Times is still talking about who will defeat Galamsey as Lance Minister vows as his...
I nearly said in our dreams.
His support. Say again.
I nearly said in our dreams. Oh, I said it.
Oh, really? This guy.
Let me break it down for you.
Probably the approach.
Let me break it down for you. We are simply not serious about the fight against Galamsey. If we maintain the way we are fighting it now, we will not get anywhere. Nowhere. I said it.
I must say that I was in a meeting there were some selected press guys who met the minister.
Okay.
To talk about, how we can win the fight. And you see, from where I'm coming from, I have an experience of Galamsey.
Yeah.
And I made it clear to them how the reasons we are not winning this fight.
Okay.
I pray they listen and then do something about it. We need to change the strategy. We've been on this strategy from 2017 at least.
Yeah.
We've never been too successful. Where are the drones?
It's not that we've not been successful about this issue.
Okay. I mean, the first period, when there was a moratorium, there was a little.
No, but that one, no one was, then people were sneaking and doing it. But then we came through with the idea of community mining and the rest. Charlie, the value is the same.
So we need to watch it. But in the Ghanaian Times, there's this story. Of course, because I'm affected, I want to do it.
Okay.
Now, PRC assures safe, reliable service delivery. The Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has reaffirmed its commitment to ensuring the delivery of safe and reliable utility provision to customers, to consumers. This follows challenges experienced in vending by consumers on e-cash and PNS metering system of the Electricity Company of Ghana.
Yeah.
This was contained in a statement issued and signed by the Executive Secretary of the PRC, Dr. Benjamin Akakpo, and copied to the Ghanaian Times in Accra yesterday. Dr. Akakpo indicated that the Commission was closely monitoring the situation and in full discussion with the service provider to address the issue. Do you know, yesterday I slept in darkness.
I slept in darkness 2 days ago.
I'll be speaking for you as I share my blunt
Please do.
Yeah.
Please do.
Yeah.
Today I passed by the district office when I was coming. I thought they would open early so I could do some. They didn't. I don't have, so I'm imagining that today, if everything stays the way they are, I'll still sleep in darkness.
And probably for the whole weekend. Yeah. It's
when I have money, I want to buy that thing. I'm not getting it.
It's not like it's your fault. It's not.
And even if you buy it, in some instances, even if you purchase it, it will not reflect. So, yes, that's another angle of the problem.
Charlie.
You can purchase it all right, but it will not reflect because of that glitch in the system.
Wow.
And when people complain, you're told, why are you being plaintive? Yeah. You have the economy being what it is in terms of inflation and everything. You have people like you who have to suffer sleep in darkness through no fault of yours. Someone's SIM, the person hasn't got his Ghana card through no fault of his, and he's suffering and SIM re-registration, and some of his calls are... Do you see the massive things in there? And then when some people vent on the president, though typically speaking, it's not the right thing to do, but they give vent, you say, why are they venting? Would you prefer that they explode in a very unfriendly manner?
Charlie, so please, PRC, if there's anything you would do, kindly help
do it ASAP.
Today I can sleep in. I can sleep with the light because, Charlie, if I have my TV on, it takes a lot of things away. But if there's no light, there's no. I'm in there alone thinking a lot of things.
It's okay. I saw another interesting story there that Stubborn Academy is going to implement and various telecom providers. Network providers.
I didn't see.
The first one, what's page 16? The long queues return again, deadline today. Stubborn Academy, Monte. More hard.
Okay, so it says, with the deadline by the National Communications Authority for all subscriber identity modules, SIM, to be registered expiring today, queues are resurfaced at registration centers here in Accra. Look, why are we like this?
Why are we like this?
I think we cannot blame entirely us for what's happening because some people do have their cards but they are not able to go through the process. Some too have registered but they have not gotten their cards. But why do those who have gone to queue at the telecommunication centers are people with their cards, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why did they wait till today and yesterday?
It's a very last minute attitude, that last minute thing that Ghanaians have. I even saw with like the Global Citizen Festival, the tickets were free. Well, you had to earn them, but they were free, right? I mean, it was like 2 months. You had 2 months to get those tickets. But on the day, people are saying that, oh, how can I get the tickets? How can I get the tickets? How can you get the tickets? Because you've had like 2 months to win these tickets, to earn these tickets.
But it also could be down to information dissemination. I do agree. Ghanaians are a very 11th hour, people, last minute. But
so if what they should do is that if you have data on the people who have their Ghana cards and have not registered, they are the people you go ahead to block if you want to go ahead. But and then those who don't have their Ghana cards but have still not, that's not their fault. So you don't block them because they don't have the Ghana cards.
I think that's a lot of like technical work that we have seen that they are struggling with.
So
because they were even blocking people who had registered. So if you want them to now find out who has a Ghana card, who doesn't have a Ghana card, I think it's going to take a lot of work.
But if you want to be fair to the person who doesn't have the card and you block him, it is more fairer if you look out for people who have their Ghana card but have not registered to rather block them.
Right.
Than to block me who don't have my Ghana card.
That's an angle. So whether the reconciliation can be done with the telcos, these people, and then in the pool of Ghana card registered Ghanaians. Oh, this person, Asamesi has registered, but has not, gone through the SIM card re-registration process. You can even find out what stage they are at, whether they've done up to maybe stage 1, or the person has not started at all. Oh, this person likely is simply evading the system or doesn't want to register. You could even call these people. I mean, there are systems rather than just get up and be setting deadlines that are
everybody
impractical. But folks, we have limited time. Let's make the most of what is left. The Daily Graphic this morning. Are you done with that paper, though?
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. So, combating crime. Security agencies need stronger collaboration. COP Adodankwa says so. There's also Adokufo, now Chancellor of KSTU, that is the Kumasi Technical University. Of course, Adokufo, former Defense Minister, brother to John Ejekufor. There's also Jinapo expresses shock over devastation of Galamsey activities. I smiled a bit when I heard this one. Shock? Really, Mr. Minister? Shock. Anyway, I don't know whether you don't know what time it is, Mr.
Is that when you saw the devastation, it was...
Oh yeah, some are like craters, basically. Huge craters. And I don't know how he can be shocked at that. I'm just being brutally frank. There's danger at Odoko traffic lights intersection, story on page 13. And addressing housing deficit, utilize pension law to own homes. NPRA encourages contributors. I'll do just that story alone from the Daily Graphic. So the NPRA has encouraged pension contributors to take full advantage of the Pensions Act 2008, Act 766, to secure mortgage for the acquisition of houses to help addressing the housing deficit in the country. This is because although the Act allows benefits accrued to be used to secure a mortgage for the acquisition of a primary residence, after a decade, it remains unutilized. The Deputy CEO of the authority, David Tete Abe, who made the call, explained that Section 103 and 144 of the Act provided for contributors to use accrued Tier 2 and 3 benefits, respectively, to secure mortgages. It goes on and on. Would that there were more facilities like this across the board for people to own homes. Our housing deficit is the words coming out not good, so I'll not use them, but it's deeply troubling. You see where people live. And it is just madness. We talk about open defecation. Look at, we've had laws in terms of, community houses or compound houses having toilet facilities and all of that. They don't have them. What do you expect? I mean, we live in filth. People are forced to do all kinds of things. And we're happy with that? I don't know. But any reactions to that? Because
there are bylaws that, like you mentioned, these houses are supposed to have places of convenience. But till today, you go to even Metropolis, and then people don't have them. It was shocking about 2 years ago when there was a release. A research was done by an NGO, which indicated that in the Western Secondary Takra, the Metropolis, about 70% of the households were without toilet facilities.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Wow.
70%.
And that's a major town. In fact, major twin cities. Imagine that. So if that is the case there, imagine the people in, I don't want to mention any place, so someone would say, but imagine the people in the typical rural communities. Imagine what is going on there. Imagine. I'll just wrap though. I was reading the story this dawn about a student of the University of Cape Coast who, and I saw a video, ghastly video, who has been killed by robbers, so to speak, stabbed. And there are some suspicions about students and all of that. Really, really sad incident.
Unfortunate.
It's something that I'll...
But Benjamin, what can we expect before we take a break for sports? What can we expect on Blunt Thoughts today?
So I've titled it, of shady contracts, a broken economy, and Akufo-Addo being booed. Writings on the wall. Do you want to know what I have in store?
I do.
So right after sports,
That's
stay.
right.
I'll be firing right here.
Samuel Kojo Brace,
Hi.
thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
I don't like this in Shishe name. The way you look at Kojo and the way you look at me are different.
Stop.
What is that? What is that?
You see, if I wanted to pain you, I would have said, my love.
Ah, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. But because I'm a very professional
You not be fun till you go chop. Oh. Come to daddy. You not be fun till you go chop. This one, allo kwa.
Ask him what does he have.
Don't mind him. Don't mind him.
But you've posed.
Oh, look at us. Look at us.
You've posed.
Oh.
You've posed a very serious question. Me, I'll come here. I'll work on that and come back. I'll match you boot for boot.
That's right.
Anyway, sports is up next. Muftau Nabila Abdullahi has an exclusive with Faisal Chipsa. Remember? About 2 years ago, he applied for the role of the GFA technical director position. He was overlooked by the football governing body in the country. 2 years on, he has become FIFA's high performance specialist for Africa. And that means he has an oversight responsibility over how the game is managed in Ghana. Interesting times. But Muftau Nabila is up next with that wonderful interview.
Faisal, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Muftau. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you too?
Good.
How's life going?
We're managing. We're surviving, so no complaints.
I was reading about you recently, and I noticed that over the years you've always been someone fixated with the technical side of football, right?
Yeah, I don't know. If you ask me, maybe 15 years ago, if I was going to go into that direction, I probably would have said you're mad. Because
How?
It's when I was done playing, I never thought I was going to go into administration side of football or coaching or management. I was just looking forward to my career in computer science because that's what I graduated with in Delaware. But then after 6 months into that, I realized this is not for me. Although I love computers and I love to play around and all that wasn't for me. There was a big piece of me missing, which was time on the pitch, around the game, around football. And then I just got into it as a volunteer. But right away, I found that happiness back. And then I started to look at areas in the game that I can get involved in, and now here I am.
But how did you get into football in the first place?
I grew up here.
I know.
Okay, so I guess that's where the passion came from. And just like every other kid in Ghana, you grew up around the game.
Yeah.
You want to play the game for fun, to begin with. And then you get to know you can actually make a living out of this and still get paid while you're having fun. So, it comes with all the sexy
Passion
stuff.
plus.
Exactly. So that's where the love came from, being in the game. And I actually grew up not far from here, Teshi.
Okay.
Where I used to watch, the Charles Taylors, Richard Kingston, Samir J, Eli Kingston, lots of beautiful players have come from Teshi. So I used to watch them, as a ball boy, and I guess that's how everything started.
You actually started as a ball boy?
I did.
Tell us that story.
My time though, look, it was, it was only the rich man's son that has the ball, and usually not the good ones. So when they're not in, that means there is no football to play. So for us to actually have a chance to play, we would just go around, the teams at that time that were training. So while we were serving as ball boys, there was an opportunity to actually kick a ball, or find a group of guys together, and then we get yelled at all the time because instead of us focusing on the game, we actually doing our own thing. That's where it all started from.
Your beginning, how was it like? Not for football, but family side, because you just mentioned that those days, for you to actually have the privilege of kicking the ball, you needed to have a father or a mother who could afford one.
Yeah.
How was your beginning like? Quite humble one?
Very humble beginnings, I would say. My parents were very, very keen on education. Fortunate for me, I had an older brother, Yusuf, at that time that I could look up to. But it was clear to me that, I had to focus on education, and even my brother, it took some divine intervention for him to actually play football, because there were times where he would go out and play and then come back and then tell a different story, until we got to a point where one of our neighbors just said to my parents, look, your son is gifted, so you should allow him to play. And my dad was like, okay, if that's the case, then the only time he plays if you get your schoolwork done.
Your homework done.
So that's how he started, and I just was watching the whole thing play out, and I got into it as well. And then I think the breakthrough for us, more for him, was when he was invited to the national team.
Yeah.
And that's when I think my parents realized, you know what, maybe we should allow him to do it. And he was very successful with it. At the same time, he was still studying. Yeah. We all had to help, because at that time, I remember when he would be at national team camp, I have to drive to KNUST, Kumasi Poly at that time, pick up his lecture notes, find a way to get it to him in Winneba at that time, the national team.
Wow.
He would come home on Friday, take his exams, go back the next day on Monday to camp. So I watched all of that. Yeah. It wasn't easy. Yeah. It wasn't easy. So, but he managed to do it, and that's when I realized, you know what, I could actually do it as well. And then I just followed the pathway. So credits to him. I think he laid the foundation and pathway for me.
In terms of the level that you wanted to get to, kicking that physical object called football, did you get it?
I think so. I think so. It was difficult, but I think so. Yeah, I think so.
But Yusuf dominates the conversation when it comes to playing the football. But you hadn't come into the picture. Tell us the whole story of your football career and all that.
It's not as sexy as Yusuf's career, I can tell you that. But for me, again, I started from the coast football. Yeah. Just like every other kid. And you just play the game because you love it. Yeah. But then I was fortunate enough, throughout the course, I went to Prempeh College for my senior secondary school. Again, still played, I captained the team to the 2004 group that won.
Sounds with Capito.
The Miller Games at that time.
Okay.
And then I was very privileged that I received an athletic scholarship to go to US and study and play at the same time. At that time, I wasn't really, keen on doing it. I didn't think football in US at that time was big. But I also knew that was the only opportunity that my parents would allow me to play. Yeah. So I accepted the offer, and then I moved to Tennessee. At that time, I had no clue, where I was going. I was just happy to go play and study. It's something I really wanted to do, knowing very well that after graduation, I could always come back and continue to play and hopefully wear the Black Stars jersey. Yeah. Never really got there, to be fair. Yeah. Maybe I wasn't good enough, but who knows?
Or maybe you were good enough, but you were not lucky.
Maybe.
Okay.
That's very true.
Yeah.
There's tons of players that don't make it because of luck.
Yeah.
But I guess that would also give me a different direction, as to how you see football. So I was fortunate. I did that for 4 years. From Tennessee, after 1 year, I moved to Delaware for my 3 years. Graduated that, enjoyed the NCAA competition, which for me was great.
Yeah.
I wish it's something we could do here, but that's a conversation for later. But really, gave me the platform and opportunity to say you can combine both football and education. At that time, I didn't think it was possible. But then you go to environments like that, and then you realize it's possible because of the system that's been built around it. And that's only the difference. If we over here, if we can just say to ourselves, it is possible, and if we actually preach that message, I think we can do it. But then I graduated, with that at the computer science in Delaware. I bounced around a bit. My brother was in Sweden at that time, so I went to Sweden. I tried my luck. nothing really was coming up for me. So then I went back to the States and then started my career in computer science. As a desktop.
You actually wanted to still play the football, right?
Yeah. No, I tried. Again, it's all I wanted to do.
Yeah.
All I wanted to do was just play for Ghana, just like every other kid. So I bounced around, realized, maybe it's not for me.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody. So then I went back, and then 6 months into my computer science career, I realized it wasn't for me.
This is not mine.
So then I reached back to my coach in Delaware and said, look, I don't think I'm enjoying this. I think I want to get back on the pitch. What do you think I can do? And then he said to me, look, you've got a computer science background. At that time, analysis was booming at that time. It was just the perfect time for me. So then he offered me a volunteer position to be on his coaching staff, help out with laying out cones and being the link between the staff and the players. Then I took it upon myself to invest in performance analysis, because again, I was very good with the computers and how to manipulate that. Then I started my coaching licenses as well, just to understand football a bit much better. Than being a player. It's totally different when you play the game. You always think about yourself only. But when you get to coaching and how to teach that and transfer that knowledge, you need to understand people. So I took my badges, took all my performance analysis courses, started as a volunteer, no pay. 6 months in, I realized this is what I wanted to do. So I quit my job and I went into football as a volunteer.
Wow.
Luckily enough, my wife was very supportive at that time. I married very young, so she understood that this is where I belong. So she held, the relationship and the financial support and all that while I quit my job into football. Then after 6 months, I got offered the full-time position as one of the assistant coaches, and that's where everything started.
That's where everything started. But do you have some disappointments because you never played for the national team?
Yes, because I always wanted to wear the jersey and stand in front of the crowd and sing the national anthem. That's all I wanted to do. But again, I realized quickly that it wasn't for everybody. If you look at the number of kids or population in Ghana, only few that would get the privilege to actually do that. I even know that more now because of what I'm doing. That it was a privilege to actually play the game first. But you can still help, grow the game, which is exactly what I'm doing now.
At what point, Faisal, did it occur to you that I could become one of the biggest technical brainers we have in football?
I don't know if I'm one of the biggest.
I'm just citing an example.
I get people tag me with that a lot, but anytime I hear that, I question myself, like, is it me?
Yeah, that is you. I'm talking to you.
I know. I still ask myself. Like,
you still ask yourself, but because if you take a look at people within the game, and people listen to you, people talk to you, they go like, this gentleman, his understanding of the game is on a different level.
No, I still think I've got more to learn, and I even more now after meeting Arsene Wenger, who privileged to work with.
Yeah.
He's still learning, and he says that all the time. For somebody who's done everything in the game.
We learn daily, but that does not take away the fact that you are still considered one of the guys with some of the biggest brains when it comes to football within the region.
I think I'm still learning. Honestly, I'm still learning. I think for me, what I've chosen to do, and it's something that I wish Africa would do more, is to try and share more. We don't do that a lot in this region and this continent. For some reason, people feel, I know this, so I get to experience this. I want to keep it to myself, and I don't want to share. And I don't think it helps us grow.
So what really motivates you?
Just to see people get the opportunity to live their dreams. I was given that opportunity at a very young age. And my former boss said to me, look, you're in a very privileged environment. If you ever get to a stage where you can give back what was given to you, don't hesitate. And that's been, one thing that I've always carried with me, that if you find yourself in a position to share more or to give opportunity to kids or anybody at all for them to live their dreams and be better, don't hesitate. Don't hesitate at all. And that's how I've lived my life in football and outside football.
How important was it for you to accept that volunteer role that was handed to you by your coach?
It was a very, very tough decision to take. And the reason why I did that was I wanted to invest myself more and educate myself more in football. And my 9 to 5 at that time was really taking a lot from me. You know, there were times where the team is traveling that I can't go because I have a 9 to 5. There were times where I can't get to practices early because I have a 9 to 5. I wanted to be in the discussion about the game, and I wasn't really getting that. You know, the little time that I had was just being on the field. I enjoyed it, but I knew there was more for me to learn. And if I have to teach more, I have to learn more. You know, so I made a decision. As I mentioned, my wife at that time was very supportive. I think that was the difference maker for me, that she understood what I wanted to do and what I was willing to give up, you know, to invest myself into this. It was very difficult.
In other words, combining the two was quite a difficult thing to do.
The way I wanted to do it, it was going to be difficult. You know, I wanted to be in there at all times.
Talk to us about the journey to Charlotte FC.
It's quite interesting one.
One of the biggest stepping stones you've had?
Yeah, for sure. And it happened in the most difficult moments. I won COVID.
It was around COVID, I remember.
Charlotte was awarded a franchise at that time. I think it was just a couple of months later and then COVID hit. So the whole world came to a standstill. And for the club, it still had to move. You know, it still had to put, you know, the pillars in place. It was a brand new club from scratch, so there were a lot to be done. And I also saw an opportunity to jump out of the college game into a much more professional environment where I could, you know, do football 24/7. I enjoyed my time in the university games at that time, but I wanted more, you know. And in the US, you really, you know, if you want to combine both, it's just not a lot. We only play about maybe 3.5 months. During the whole year, the rest is administration. So I went in an environment where I was talking about the game 24/7, you know, and you know, around that COVID time, the opportunity came for me to apply to Charlotte. I went to interviews and I don't know what they saw, but they gave me the job.
If we cut you and take a look at your blood, I think it will be round balls, because the ball is in your system.
Maybe. So then I jumped on it. But before Charlotte, I also worked with the Philadelphia Union. I need to say that because they really gave me that opportunity to be in that professional academy environment in the first team, to see how things work, how to transition from youth to senior team football and what to do, how to recruit. That's when I really learned about talent identification because it was totally different.
How do you identify talents? That's one area, because we always say you need to identify the talent. You need to identify the talent. How do we identify a talent?
It's a very, very difficult thing to do. I don't think it's easy. I don't think there is a blueprint and a formula for that. I must say that. But then it comes down to what you believe in, what your club philosophy is, and how you align that to your talent ID philosophy. Training scouts as well. But in short, I don't think there is one way to do it. But once you educate yourself in that environment, it becomes a little bit easier. At the end, you want to look at a kid now and predict the future of that kid. It's impossible to do. You know, I don't even know what tomorrow is going to bring for me here, let alone predict the future of a kid who is 5-10 years you know, life ahead of him. So really it's a difficult thing to do. But like I said, once you have structures and policies and much more educated in that environment, you feel comfortable to say, you know what, this kid may potentially become one of the best in the world. It's not an easy task.
If you just joined us, we are having a conversation with Faisal Chipsa, a high performance specialist with FIFA, and he's been talking to us about his life journey. He's life is basically football. I think his DNA is football. And one thing I would like to actually understand is the role high performance specialist. What actually is that about? But we'll get there pretty soon. Faisal, tell me, if you take a look at your journey all the way to Charlotte FC, and even at Charlotte FC, you were the head of recruitment, right?
Yeah, I was head of academy recruitment,
Head of academy recruitment.
Yeah.
And that actually meant that you had a responsibility of getting talents that was suited into the Charlotte FC model.
Yep.
And subsequently build a team that can compete in the LMS, right?
That is true. That is true. That was the task, and it was a difficult one. If you look at North and South Carolina, which is where the team was based, huge. I think over 50 million people we are talking about here. So to begin with, you have to understand the football landscape first.
Wow.
You know, the culture of North and South Carolina as well. You also have to understand the club's vision and the club philosophy. What kind of footballers are we looking to bring on into the first team? You know, the profile of positions. You need to understand all of that. So even though I was the head of the academy, I was also working with the first team department, because at the end, the talent we spot and find and bring into our development should be the ones that we think can compete in the first team in the MLS. You know, so I had to help with defining the club philosophy, the model of football, the profile of players in each position, what are our talent predictors, because talent could mean anything. You know, somebody with height is a talent. Somebody with speed is a talent. You know, for us, so we needed to define what talent actually means first, and that has to be shared across the club, and then the scouts that we're working with, and then the clubs around us as well, because a lot of what we do depends on your job. So when they are identified players, we can go everywhere. You know, so it's important that we form networks all around the North and South of Carolina and beyond, so that way when they are recruiting players, they can think of what it takes to play at Charlotte. So we have to provide them with that education as well and resources, so they make our job become easier. So again, you're managing a lot of pieces when it comes to talent identification and educating a lot of people as well.
So the jigsaw was quite huge that you needed to fit in.
So I needed to understand that landscape first before I can actually go out there and talk about who
So
would be.
what was the definition of talent for you in driving the Charlotte FC agenda?
So we came up with what we call talent indicators that when we go out, we look for, and that's what the club came up with. Every club I think should have their own, because football is not one way. It's different, however you see it. So those 5 predictors is what we would educate our scouts and clubs on that. When you are developing players or looking for players in your environment, please look out for these key qualities and characteristics here, because we have interest. We look at intelligence, we look at mobility, we look at technical ability, we look at aggressiveness. And again, not to say this is what you should look for, but this is what the club came up with, because that's what we sort of think it's a DNA in every player that would fit in our environment and eventually to the first team. But a lot of education has to be done in terms of scouts and coaches for them to see football the way we want to see football.
So how long did you do that?
I was in Charlotte for a year. It's sad because FIFA came knocking after a year, and it was really a job that I enjoyed, because I walked into an environment where there was nothing. I had to come up with a department, find scouts, hire people, come up with all this education. So really it was an opportunity for me to build something from scratch. And it was going very well. I was really enjoying it, putting it together. Fun. I did, really did. But I just didn't, stay long enough to see everything come to a conclusion here. But I was happy to see that some of the kids we identified at that time have now signed for the first team. So clearly it tells me we were up to something good, you know.
So like how many players made it to the first team?
2, I think, have signed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, one very young, a 17-year-old, who had his debut against Chelsea. So imagine a 17-year-old signed your first
your
contract.
fingerprints are already everywhere.
Yeah. So I was hoping, you know, to go back and I think I'm probably going to go back someday.
You're probably gonna
someday.
I think the fans of Charlotte FC will be happy.
No, for me, I want to because unfinished business for me. We started something really, really good, and I wanted to see it. You know, I wanted to be there when the first academy graduate move into the first team. Unfortunately, I've missed it, but I think there is still more to come.
At what point did FIFA come knocking?
FIFA came in. It was a very long discussion, to be fair, because I had just joined Charlotte at that time, only a year into the job, and I didn't want to leave after a year, you know, because I was given a lot to manage, and before it started something really, really good. So to leave in the middle of it, it just didn't feel right for me. But when FIFA comes, and you listen, and an opportunity to come back home, and work in the continent, which I've always wanted to do, it was tough decision. But I think we started a discussion around towards the end of last year, I would say. That's when they came in, they flew me to Portugal, we met, we spoke. I went back to Charlotte again, you know, about 3 months before we actually decided, you know what, I want to do this. And again, credit to Charlotte, because when I went back and told them about the opportunity, they were really, really happy for me. You know, they said, look, this is FIFA, this is the highest governing football in the world. You have an opportunity to go back home and you know, help grow the game here. So we are sad to lose you, but we also do think this is great for you, not only you, but for your country and your continent. You're okay to go. And that was it. You know.
I'm kind of interested in this because if you take a look at your trajectory within the technical space of the game, where at Charlotte FC within a year FIFA comes knocking, it probably tells you that whatever you were doing, there was another person who had an eye on you.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So how did that get to the attention of FIFA, for FIFA to go like, this is the guy we need for Africa?
So before FIFA came, or before I even accepted the Charlotte job, I had applied for a job here in Ghana. I'm not going to talk about that job.
I will touch on it. I'll definitely touch on it.
I applied for a job here in Ghana. Didn't get it. Maybe I wasn't good enough at that time. But I spoke to a few people about it before I actually went in. But credit though, because when I was brought in for an interview, I thought it went pretty well. So that alone, you know, said to me, you know what, you can give something. There's something there. It was too early at that time, maybe, but right around that time, I spoke to a very, very important figure. People know I'm very close to him now, in the likes of Anthony Buffo. You wouldn't want me to mention his name, but
I know.
I think
I know how Tony works, so it's understandable.
But I think it's fair that I do that. And you know, we spoke a lot, and you know, he advised me that you're still young, just continue doing what you're doing. There's going to be a big opportunity. At that time, we both didn't know it was going to be FIFA.
Actually, there's no elevator to success. You must go through the steps.
And that's one thing that Tony says a lot. And that's the first thing he actually told me when we started talking. So we became very close. I would bounce ideas off him. It would involve me in some of the stuff the PFAG is doing. So I really kept close contact with him. And then when the opportunity came for FIFA looking for somebody here on the continent, he thought of me. He thought of me, so he spoke to me about it, and I said, okay, this is FIFA, I'm interested. I want to learn more, to be fair, but I'm also, you know, I want to explore that opportunity and see how far that goes. So then I sent in my CV, a bunch of others sent in theirs as well. I went through a series of interviews. It was, you know, it wasn't like, here you go, here's a recommendation from Mr. Buffo, so you're good to go. No, I had to go through interviews and all of that. So maybe they saw something. And then everything just started from there.
Has it been fun doing the FIFA job?
Yeah.
Just, okay.
Yeah.
A FIFA high performance specialist. What does it mean?
So a lot of people ask me this question: who's a high performance specialist?
Yes, what does
I think high performance really is becoming a buzzword now.
Yeah.
But if you are coming from rugby, you know this has been there for years.
Yeah.
But in football, I think we're beginning to understand what high performance now. But really, if I could break it down to the simplest form, I would say doing the right things at the right time all the time for a long time, which is tough to do. Even in our normal lives, it's tough for us to do that. So to do that in football really was a tough thing to do. And you can tell, the top countries and the top clubs do that very, very well, where they look at the whole ecosystem and look at areas where they can maximize, and then areas where even they're not good at, they can, find ways to improve on it. But really combining science and data and football, much more objectivity into the game of football. Not to say subjectivity is bad, it's not, but you really have to find the balance. But once you are able to be more objective in how you make decisions and how you communicate that and teach that, I think you're really living a high performance life, on the field, off the field, even what you eat, what you say, rest, all that goes into living a high performance life. So like I mentioned, the simplest form is doing the right things at the right time all the time.
So what basically...
So my job now, again, really, this is a new program that FIFA has brought to life, where when Arsene came in as the chief of global football, he was brought in to help grow the game globally, and goal 6 of FIFA's vision now is to increase global competitiveness. So FIFA wants to get to the point where 50 countries are in a position to compete and win the World Cup. As it stands now, it's only 2 confederations. You only have UEFA and CONMEBOL that have really won the World Cup or played in the Final 4. Nobody else, in regards to other federations, have gone that far. So FIFA is also saying, okay, if that's the case, what can we do to the rest of the confederations to help everybody,
to give them equal opportunity
to compete? And that means talent development, because there is talent everywhere. But if you're not really living a high performance life or practicing high performance and giving every talent a chance in your country, then you're not maximizing your potential. So they form a small team around Arsene to work with the countries in talent development. So we look at the talent development ecosystem, national teams, coach education, academies if there is one, talent ID and development, domestic competitions. We go into the countries and analyze all those areas and then come up with some recommendations. Not what FIFA thinks, but based on what the rest of the world and the top countries have done. So we did an ecosystem analysis of the 205 member associations, and then we came up with some of the best practices that the top countries have done very well. And I must say, a lot of credit to those countries, because they could have easily said, we don't want to share this.
We don't want to share this. And you mentioned earlier, it's important to share.
Exactly. We just want to be the best in the world for a long time, so we're not open to sharing with everybody else. But all the countries agreed to do it, and they shared all the information, their practices, their system. So now we collect all that data and information. We've come up with a global report, to say this is where you are as a country, and this is what the top countries are doing. So you can compare and look at areas where we can help you as the high performance specialist put together a strategy, a policy, a philosophy to help you maximize your talent in your country. So our job as high performance specialists is to work directly with these countries.
With the federations?
Exactly, with the federations, and to maximize their talent.
So you're representing Arsene Wenger in Africa?
I don't know if it's the best way to put it. I'm helping Arsene, work in the country.
You are the brain of Arsene Wenger in Africa.
I wish. Because that's a very big brain, man. That's a very big brain.
You are the representative of Arsene Wenger.
I don't know if it's the best way to put it, honestly.
But who are you in Africa?
I'm just I'm just working on behalf of FIFA for Africa.
You send your report
to
FIFA.
Yeah, I do.
You visit countries in the continent, put together reports, educate them on some of the best practices.
If I say educate them, it's like I'm coming with the solutions and the answers. I don't have it. I don't have it. I'm also learning as well, but we play a role as a thinking partner.
Yeah.
Let me put it that way, because when I go into those countries, I don't go in and impose.
Yeah.
I don't go in and say this is what you have to do.
Yes.
I go in and say this is what you have based on the report that was given to you by FIFA. These are some of the things you should consider. Remember, every country is unique.
Yeah.
Because a talent in Ghana, the definition of talent here in Ghana is different from Cote d'Ivoire or Nigeria or South Africa or Tunisia or Algeria.
Yeah.
Everybody would have to define what talent means to them based on the culture and all that. So again, we pay very, very much attention to that. But my role is to sit with the MA, the Member Association, and together find out with some of these solutions. I may not have all the answers. The ones that I do, again, I go back to FIFA, or I can reach out to other member associations that have the answers to that. And then we'll try and compare and come up with the best of solutions. So really, we are all learning.
We learn as we move on.
Yeah.
How many countries have you visited so far?
A lot, but we're still more to come.
I know recently you were in South Africa.
Oh yeah.
You were in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
You've been
I was
to Mauritania.
in Zambia.
You went in Zambia. Was it Zambia? Yeah.
It was Zambia. Yeah.
Mauritania as well.
Not Mauritania yet. But I'm still there's still more to come.
Yeah,
let's forget about the countries first and talk about where I've been.
The point is that I just want to appreciate the mammoth of responsibility that you have in terms of growing the game in the continent.
Yeah.
So every single member federation of FIFA, which is from the continent, you have a role of assisting them. But like you mentioned, you do not have the answers to everything. You take a look at what they have and what they can add. Yeah. So that basically means that if you go to the Ghana Football Association and take a look at their template,
choose somebody else. Don't choose Ghana Football Association. Okay. Why do you have to choose Ghana Football Association?
If you go to the South Africa Football Association, SAFA, and you tell them that based on the report FIFA has got, what you're doing so far is 35%.
Yeah.
You have a 65% more to go.
Yeah.
If you want to be able to meet the potentials of the talent you've got in this country. These are the things you would have to do. That is basically what I want to appreciate.
It's clear now.
You mentioned something. You mentioned that you applied for a job in Ghana. What was that about?
It was the technicality position at the FA at that time.
That was the time the FA had mentioned that they needed a technical director. Yeah, I recall that. And tell us what happened.
Nothing happened.
Something happened.
Nothing happened. No. To be fair, again, anytime I speak about this, I always say thanks to the FA. When I sent in my application, I wasn't really expecting
the job.
A job or even a callback, honestly, because I knew at that time I was still young.
But it's not.
I get it.
Yeah.
Young in the job.
Okay, you were young in the
acquired
job.
some experience.
Yeah, I understand.
And did it. If it's now, I would say I'm much more ready.
Yeah.
Than I think it was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
2-3 years ago. So, but they still give me a call back. The president called me. We exchanged text. I went through the interviews with them, but it was a good experience for me. It really opened my eye a lot. I was away for a long time too at that time, so I really needed to understand the football landscape here a little bit more. When I was living, I was young, and I was away for like over 15 years, so a lot has changed at that time. So I needed to understand that side too, to be fair. But in terms of how everything played out, for me it was a big experience. I learned a lot, and I say again thanks to the FA, because I wasn't really expecting a call back at that time, because that's a huge job, man.
Yeah.
That's a huge job, and I knew there was going to be tons of people that want to work for the Ghana Football Association. So, but to be fair again, that also gave me a bit of, I don't know what to use here, but after that process, I realized that you can do more. You know, there's really something special you can do. So for them to reach out to me for an interview, I started taking this more seriously now.
There's one thing I really want to understand. In as much as you felt that you were still really young within the space, you believed that this was something you could do. Yes. And shortly afterwards, you went to Charlotte FC.
Yeah.
That clearly tells us
exactly. That's why
there's probably something within you that the panel you met did not see, but the people who set up.
I wasn't good enough. That's what it is.
That's quite subjective.
Yeah.
Good enough is subjective because what you might say is not good enough. It's actually better for someone. Yeah. So, disappointed you didn't get a job?
No. No, I wasn't. I wasn't disappointed at all. Like I said, when I threw my name in the hat there, I wasn't really expecting anything. But this is Ghana Football Association. To be the technical director for Ghana Football Association, it's a massive job. Massive, massive job.
To be a FIFA high performance specialist for Africa, it's a much bigger job.
Okay. Now, okay, I get it. But I'm saying at that time, it's a massive job.
Yeah.
A massive job. And to be even considered for that role, for me, it was more than I expected.
Again, I'm still not satisfied.
I know what you want, but you're not going to get it. I know exactly what you want, but I think this is enough for the public.
What would Faisal have brought to the football space in Ghana if you were given the role of a technical director?
Very, very good question. At that time, I felt we needed a bit of structure, needed a bit of discipline, a bit of direction as well. And we needed somebody just to lead, football in the country. And that was those things that I was hoping to bring. You know, I've seen structure, I've worked in structures, I've been in the youth development, so I understand the youth. I know the opportunities that are out there. I understand the culture because I'm from Ghana. I grew up here, so I lived through the coast system and all that. But the one thing that I was really, really looking forward to bring is the discipline in terms of manning a technical directorate there. And again, when you travel around Africa now, you realize what African is not so much of the technicalities of the game, but really it's just the discipline to do the right things all the time, okay, every single time for a long time. That really is where I think Africa is lacking.
What are the right things?
The right things is just when you put up a structure that you may have an idea of, you may not, but there are avenues out there where you can learn all this. Like if you're the TD and you go to FIFA right now and say, I need a structure put in place to identify talent all across Ghana and put them in an environment for them to grow to the senior team, FIFA would help with that. Okay? FIFA would give you all that help. But then when FIFA gives you that help, it's up to you to come back here and see to the implementation. What is right, what has to be done, who are the people that we need to put in positions with the right qualification and competence. That's where the high performance life comes in, because if you're not really motivated, it's easy to just, plug in things that may not be right. And that's where we're lacking.
Based on what you've witnessed so far, you didn't get a job, someone else got a job, but based on what you've witnessed so far, are there more things that we need to work on?
Of course, yeah. And this is not just Ghana, this is everywhere. Even the top European countries will still tell you there's more to do. So there is always room to improve for sure. But again, of course there's more to do here, let me put it that way.
Tell us, in terms of percentage, and based on the FIFA Global Report, in terms of percentage, where is Ghana?
I can't speak about that.
No, it's not.
No, seriously, I can't. It's very confidential.
I really understand that. I really understand that. Yeah. But I want to have an idea about how much of work that Ghana must do.
I don't think you even need the report. You can look. You've been in the game for a long time.
Yeah.
If I ask you right now, a kid in your village.
Yes.
What's your village?
Do.
Where is that at?
It's in the northeast region.
Northeast region. Okay. Do you think a kid up there has the same opportunity as a kid in Accra?
No.
When it comes to finding.
In fact, growing up, I did not have the opportunities like case of Accra.
Okay.
Because I grew up from there.
Yeah. So until we get to a stage where we can see a clear pathway, and say, every kid, regardless of where he or she is born in the country, has the same opportunity as the ones here, then there is more work to be done.
Is that actually what FIFA wants?
That's what FIFA wants. That's not what alone FIFA wants, but I think that's what every country should do. And don't forget, when the quality of football at the World Cup is improving and better, that's when FIFA can advertise that and make more revenue and reinvest back into the game. So it's important that even where FIFA sits, they still keep an eye on the member associations and make sure that football is actually growing and then the level of competition is growing. Because you don't want to lose that. Right now, we will agree that World Cup final is the biggest stage in football in the country. It's not okay for FIFA to sit down and say, you know what, we have this, so we're just going to sit down and relax.
Yeah.
FIFA still needs to keep working, which is why we are investing in this talent development to make sure the quality of football at youth levels, even at senior levels, still remains top-notch. Very, very important.
How can we improve our talent identification in Ghana?
Very, very difficult thing to do when you talk about talent identification. Again, just as I explained, every kid, boy or girl in Ghana should have the same opportunity as the ones that are around Accra or Eastern Region or Kumasi. So you really have to put structures in place. You have to define a pathway. You have to first of all make sure football is accessible to every kid, because if your cousin in the village somewhere else doesn't have access to football alone, he's not going to develop. He or she's not going to develop. So that's where everything starts. That's the basics, that's the foundation. And then once we define the structures, once we define the policies, once we define an environment, once we define domestic competitions, once we strengthen coach education, we educate our coaches, our scouts. This is the whole ecosystem I'm talking about.
I read a lot about some of the tweets you often put up on your Twitter account, and most often the questions you ask about the technical side of the game. We need lots of improvement in our technical side of the game.
We do, and I think it's not even a secret at all. So
where do we lack when it comes to the technical side of the game?
Let's take our minds back to maybe 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think, I think this is also out there, it's not a secret at all. We've not had a top coach education course in Ghana for a long time, about 6-7 years.
Yeah.
Not A, not B, not even C, not even A Pro now.
Yeah.
So when you don't have better coaches, there's no way you can develop better players. When you don't have quality instructors all across the country, there's no way you can educate coaches or run courses. So that's an area that again, it's not the fault of this FA because they're just new, but it's a problem that's been there for a long time.
Yeah.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now, after sports, we talk some hard matters. My blunt thoughts, I serve you now, people of Ghana. And I've titled it, Of Shady Contracts, A Broken Economy, and Akufo-Addo being booed. Writings on the wall? I shall start off today's blunt thoughts with some slides and then segue into what I think why everything is coming undone in many facets of our national life. Let's commence with my first two slides, which focus on Frontier's healthcare services and their work at the Kotoka International Airport. Now, just to let you know, I'll not go into how this entity's real ownership is so shady that tracing it will take you to the Dominican Republic and back to Nigeria and Ghana, coupled with all the other very worrisome details. No, I'm not going to do that. For now, I just want us to focus on the trajectory so far and how things are unraveling. So let's get to it. Let's take a quick look at the trajectory. September 2020, government engaged Frontiers to conduct rapid COVID-19 testing at the Kotoka International Airport. In March 2022, Okudzeto Ablakwa accused Frontiers of making allegedly $130 million in profit from COVID-19 testing at the KIA. In June 2022, the Transport Minister told Parliament that the total amount realized from COVID-19 testing at the KIA amounted to $17.4 million between September and December 2020, of which $16.2 million went to Frontiers. Then in September 2022, after all of this and what has been said, the Ghana Airport Company Limited tells JoyNews it cannot confirm how much Frontiers made from COVID-19 testing at the Kotoka International Airport. Really? This is a tweet put up by Bright Simmons in recent times. He says, a Ghanaian state-owned company, the Ghana Airport Company Limited, enters a revenue-sharing deal with another company, Frontiers. The GACL is asked how much Frontiers made from the deal. The GACL says it doesn't know. So how does the GACL know it wasn't cheated of its share? You see why Ghana government has money issues. If this turns out to be true, that is, we are not aware of exactly how much Frontiers healthcare services made from COVID-19 testing, then we're either one of the worst countries in terms of lax financial tracking systems, or we simply do not have the people with the brains to protect what is our national interest. How on earth can we say this and sleep well at night? How? I'm sorry, but I cannot mince words on this. And some of these officials are still at post? Oh, Ghana. What exactly did we do to deserve such crass performance? Are you telling me like in the UK? Oh, wait a minute. Let's not do UK. People will say that is a non-African country. Let's use Kenya or South Africa or Rwanda. Can this happen in any such jurisdictions? Of course, because such countries have better advanced systems. We saw how Finance Minister Henry Rotich was in 2019 nabbed by the law in Kenya, Finance Minister, for corruption and put before court, didn't we? We will simply not do that here, no matter what. In like manner, this rigmarole of hiding under Section 10 of the Right to Information Act, claiming it is information that is exempt, is a mere charade to me. Well, let's even assume the GACL, owing to incompetence, actually does not have those details. Which entity then should furnish us with them? The Ministry for Transport? The Finance Ministry? Aviation? Someone must have some answers. It simply cannot be that absolutely no one can reveal to ordinary Ghanaians what the details are of a contract in which many millions were literally handed over to a hitherto unknown entity to milk our system, and no one knows how much they made. To even suggest that will be one of the dumbest things I have ever heard, ever. I mean, how can any right-thinking person assume the people of Ghana will buy such a witless explanation or rationalization of this whole saga? The Ghana Airports Company Limited says the agreement it has with Frontiers Healthcare Services contains information that cannot be disclosed. Is it cannot be disclosed or will not be disclosed? Is there something to be hidden, maybe? And are some elements worried about what could pop up should the details of the said agreement be laid bare for critical analysis? Oh yeah, I see it. That's a worry, isn't it? Some people walking the corridors of power know such information in the hands of people like me will be viewed microscopically with a fine-tooth comb. And that obviously will ruffle some feathers. If not, why play cloak and dagger with this? But hey, let's hold our horses. What exactly did the GACL tell us? Managing Director Pamela Jamson Tete explained that the said information was exempted under Section 10 of the Right to Information Act 2019, Act 989. She also said the company was not in possession of information pertaining to the chronology of the processes that led to the selection of an award to Frontiers Healthcare Services. How very curious. You can read Section 10 of the Act and come back for us to have a discussion on that. For me, though, this raises many eyebrows, which is why the pursuit is still on to get the relevant information. And that leads me to my next point. Our president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, recently got booed at a global event held in this country. Members of the ruling administration castigated the youthful protesters ferociously. Owusu Bempah, a presidential staffer, battled them on Twitter. Party members called them a disgrace. K.T. Hammond called them coconut heads. My own friend, Deputy Tourism Minister Okreku Mante, suggested the people had been cheering on rather than jeering at Mr. President. One happening, 1,000 different opinions. I'll say this for sure, though. From what I saw, and I've had to rely on different footage from the event as well as feedback from my own colleagues who were there, they were in fact hooting at our leader for failing them. Now, while I have said that I wouldn't personally engage in such behavior, some people seem to have forgotten that our 1992 Constitution allows for freedom of speech, expression, and that these youth broke no laws. Look, let's be honest with ourselves. The times are hard. No one needs to even know economic fundamentals to recognize this. Young people everywhere are suffering miserably. The sheer number of people I am constantly called upon to give handouts, it's mind-blowing. And this is just in my own little corner. I'm not saying this for praise, far be that from me. The Bible makes us know that in such acts of charity, our left hand shouldn't even know what our right hand has done. I bring it up, however, to point to the unfettered, unbridled, unbearable, raw pain people have to endure on a daily basis. Further, for people who feel hard done to chew on and maybe give vent about. And when they burst out, we chastise them for booing a president as though they had broken the law. Why did our current constitution make room for demonstrations, for example? Would we prefer that these young ones bottled their rage till it was at tipping point and then exploded in a manner that would foment trouble or an arrest in our country? Would we prefer that? How exactly those in leadership think sometimes beats my imagination. Somehow, the presidential staffer in question, together with the membership of the ruling administration defending this, I am assuming, was able to conduct a poll even as the event was ongoing and was able to handpick, determine that all those booing the president were members of the opposition, right? How unempirical, hypocritical, barren of reflection. How dense can some of these party people be? All of them were opposition party people? Really? I wouldn't do that. But it doesn't mean others cannot or will not. And they have every right to do so if they feel strongly enough about an issue. I recall reading a reaction where someone suggested that the suffering masses came there for the Global Citizens event to drown their sorrows in the music and all the fanfare. And it was a spoiler for the president to pursue them even there with his inefficiency, so to speak. Like I said, I wouldn't boo at any president, past or present, for whatever reason, maybe unless it was egregious enough. But to suggest that everyone will think or act like I would is plainly infantile. Again, to assume everyone who booed the president is in bed with the opposition is as puerile as the thinking of some NPP communicators that once you criticize the system, you are against it. That is backward thinking. It is because of such political cavemanism that our politics, and by extension our democratic enterprise, has been so stunted. The state of the economy, let's face it, is brutally bad. The Minister of Employment and Labor Relations recently indicated this administration had created some 5.3 million plus jobs in this country since 2017. This would be a good time for those jobs to actually show up, outside of party members having a field day as presidential staffers and all kinds of other manufactured positions, as Clocksack suggests, so the teeming youth can make ends meet. You have an economy this broken, and you figure Galamsey will cease by the wave of some magic wand? Yes, we can clamp down on it, though clearly we are only pretending to do so, even while the Lands and Natural Resources Minister inviting 5 of his colleague regional ministers to a show that I do not know whether it will have any real impact. But if there are simply no jobs, people will find ways and means of keeping body and soul together, even if it means doing the wrong thing. I woke up this morning to some very disturbing news of a female student stabbed at the University of Cape Coast by robbers over a laptop and other valuables. Why? One life, too many lost. The law is the law, and there is no justification for such acts, even in the name of poverty. But I'm saying if you make the system too tight economically, some people will become the devil's workshop and do things we do not wish to see or hear of. May that poor lady's soul rest in peace, and my condolences to her family, though. Brothers and sisters, I do translation work in French and Spanish especially. It's one of the ways I do to stay afloat economically. I did some 11th hour work for some people just yesterday, and there was a lot of pressure to deliver on a complicated and technical document very quickly. It was only later I understood why. Payment had been made in Ghana cedis for a foreign transaction in hard currency. And the great fear was that if those documents I was translating did not come through yesterday, the exchange rate could change by today and be much higher, and so impact earlier arrangements. That stunned me. It floored me, to be honest. Things are that starkly bad. Yet some people want us all to pretend everything is okay. How can we? How can we manage that when for days people in many places are left in darkness because the state distributor of power in the southern belt of our country, the ECG, has a system glitch that has left many unable to purchase power? Imagine people with cold stores and other businesses who do not have generators. How will they cope? How can we not be angry when we have a communications minister who insists on treating ordinary Ghanaians like goats, which sometimes must be whipped in line in terms of a SIM card re-registration fraught with many problems? And we think all of that combined will not leave people triggered enough to want to descend on the occupant of the highest office of the land, even if it was politically incorrect and maybe, just maybe, culturally reprehensible. The earlier we wake up to the pungent smell of the brewing coffee, the widespread dissatisfaction with goings on, we may be tickling ourselves and laughing, pretending the emperor still has clothes on until disaster strikes. Failing to plan is planning to fail. Let's not pretend things are not as bad as the people are saying. In fact, in reality, things are worse than most people think. When Professor Steve Hanke of the Johns Hopkins University measured our inflation at over 80%, many members of the ruling administration were plaintive. When just a week ago, the Chief Executive Officer of Dalex Finance, Kenneth Kwamina Thompson, suggested that while the Ghana Statistical Service had pegged Ghana's inflationary rate at 33.9%, for him, it felt more like 80%. Was he a foreigner too, as Gabi would say, as some have suggested? My very good friend, Joe Jackson, COO of the same Dalex Finance, shared a post on Twitter, which I shall share with you, referencing same. This is what he had to share. January 2022, carton of frozen chicken, 120 Ghana cedis. September, 250 Ghana cedis. Look at the change in there. 108%. 5 kilograms of royal aroma rice, 32 Ghana cedis in January. 58 cedis in September 2022, 81%. Look at Phytol oil, 1 liter, 16 cedis in January 2022, 30 cedis in September 2022, 88%. In fact, he also pinned up a tweet from last year as he referenced our economic woes, even from projections then. Come back to me. He says Ghana is broke, and then this is what he put up there. Look at that. Total revenue and grants, 37.45 billion. That's 100%. Look at our interest payments alone. 18.83. That is what? Billion Ghana cedis. That is 50% of the sum. Salaries take another 20.45 billion Ghana cedis. You are left with what? 50. That's another 55%. In fact, more than we have in our kitty. And then you look at total interest and salaries at 39.28 billion. 105%. It is high time this government sat up. The kitchen is so damn hot, and the ordinary Ghanaian does not have the option of simply walking out of it. So instead of antagonizing the people, I humbly suggest people in government be more circumspect in their utterances, understanding in their approach, respectful in their interactions with the despondent masses, and sympathetic towards what people have to go through every bloody day. It is economic carnage going on out there, and you want people to shush as though the Grinch hadn't in fact stolen our economic Christmas? When the finance minister, Ken Ofori-Atta, spoke to us recently, he also pointed to how he was hoping in some 2 years our country could be back on the international lending market. To borrow some more, of course. While many economic watchers have suggested that is simply not practical and that we need anything from 5 to 7 years to restore the confidence in our economy, eroded to the point we've been shut out of the Eurobond market, this got me rather worried. Why? We are ticking the same old boxes that actually led us here. And if we are not careful, even this IMF program we seek, not as a solution to our economic woes, but as a stabilizer of our economy, will get us nowhere because our appetite for borrowing, it is clear, has not been lost. The genie now has broken out of our economic lamp. How to get it back and keep it in check is the issue. I wonder, do we have the men and women to get us out of this fix, even as we engage the IMF? You tell me. Maybe more transparency, some more humility rather than the copious doses of arrogance dispensed daily, and some more tact will make a positive impact. We are, after all, rational beings who can understand that things are bad. But to add all these insults to our injuries is pure madness, I say. Before I wrap, let's take a look at just how bad the situation is. These are the Fitch ratings and other ratings agencies and what they've been saying about Ghana. Now, this is Moody's, this is Standard & Poor's, this is Fitch. You look at the categorizations. If you're here, you are prime. And we know the country's in that bracket. That's a high grade, upper medium grade, lower medium grade. Guess where we are? We have to come all the way down. Most of them have left us here, even according to Fitch recently. So we've dropped all the way from, and mind you, once you cross the BBB minus and go down, you are in junk status. We've gone down through junk status and we're at CC now, which points to default being imminent. Default on our debts being imminent with little prospect for recovery. This is where we are currently. There's an interesting bit I want to end with. Look at Ghana, the joint World Bank IMF debt sustainability analysis. December 2019, mark the year. Prepared jointly by the staff of the International Development Association and the International Monetary Fund, approved by Marcelo Estevão, Dominique Desrel, and others of the IMF. Look at what it says, Joint Bank Fund Debt Sustainability Analysis. I'll start from the bottom. Application of judgment, no. Granularity in the risk rating, sustainable as of then. But look at this. Overall risk of debt distress, high. Do you see that? Risk of external debt distress, high. So you understand how from 2019, not getting things right has led us here. As I end, I'd like to re-echo the words of the Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, all the way from 1965. Africa, he says, is a paradox which illustrates and highlights neocolonialism. Her earth is rich, yet the products that come from above and below the soil continue to enrich not Africans predominantly, but groups and individuals who operate to Africa's impoverishment. Our misleaders are part of that group. Even today, with all the misleaders we have leading us on the continent, the Osagyefo's words still ring true. It is high time we did better, because if not, posterity will judge us harshly. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts shared raw, unedited, and undiluted. God help and bless our country and make us great and strong. Welcome back on the AM show, and after that blustering run, we get over to Elubo, and we'll be talking about the customs issue recently on the back of our latest Hotline documentary, Smuggler's Paradise. Well, the customs grouping has been forced to act, so to speak, or made to act. Well, my colleague Maxwell Agbagba is with them somewhere in Elubo, and will be interacting with us on what exactly the developments are to clamp down on corruption at our borders. Maxwell, if you can hear me, a very good morning to you. Thanks for the great job you're doing. What is the latest you can report from Elubo?
From Ghana, but what you can see behind me, just about it's Ivory Coast. So that is Ivory Coast, and a community, a border community called Noé, which is in Ivory Coast. Now, if you move from there, so this vehicle actually coming is from Noé, Ivory Coast. So these are personnel from the Ivory Coast police, and they are coming into Ghana at this point. So that is Ivory Coast. But when you turn right now, it says, "Welcome to Ghana." And like you can see personnel from the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority there. You can see personnel of the Ghana Immigration Service also there. We're here to check activities here at the border. Remember that this is the second busiest land border, and that it comes second after Aflau. It doesn't look busy today, the beehive of activity that people usually see here, it's a bit absent here today because Ivory Coast, they closed their section of their part of the border after, when the pandemic started in 2020. What it means is that it's difficult for people to actually go there to do business. The Ghana side of the border is open, but their side, after 2 years, has still not been opened, and that has affected economic activities here. Today, we are focusing on the work of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority. We want to find out what they do here to prevent smuggling, to also mobilize revenue for the country. And I have some wonderful people here who are going to join and help me with that conversation. Let me invite one of them here. He's the commander. He is one of the officers in charge here at the Lubo collection. So, what's your name? You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Chief Revenue Officer Dan Louis Menia.
Okay.
I'm the general. I'm in charge of general duties here.
Okay.
Second in command of this collection. Okay. This is the GRA Custom Division Elubu collection. Arguably, this is about the second busiest land frontier in Ghana.
Okay.
Yes, and in fact, here...
So all of these people, so they live in Ivory Coast?
Yeah. Yeah,
they live in Ivory Coast.
They live in Ivory Coast. They live here too. In fact, that's the problem we have. We have a situation where the people over here at Norway and those here in Alubu are virtually the same people. Okay. Yes, they have equally the same economic, social, cultural, everything. Yeah. Others have to have their farms over there in Ivory Coast, and the vice versa.
Okay.
You can hardly put a line between them in terms of anything. They have their markets here, they have markets, they interact. Okay. And then there's a very serious economic activities that they engage each other with.
Okay.
Yeah,
and how does that affect your operations?
Yes, so that is where the problem is when it comes to smuggling, when the issue of smuggling comes in.
Okay.
The issue of smuggling is a very dicey thing. Because right now, as we are talking, we have opened our gates.
Okay.
The Ivorians have not opened their gates. And so movement of people is an issue.
Okay.
We get people who want to come here with their goods are not allowed by the Ivorians because they have closed their border.
Okay.
So the alternative would be to pass other means of getting to Ghana. And so that is the reason why we have a normative, that we have new unapproved routes.
Okay.
You know? But before I will go that way, I want to let you know our jurisdiction, area of jurisdiction.
Okay.
It's so broad and very wide. And now, the Elubu collection has to do with so many, stations spanning from new Afasini. Okay. And Afasini has outposts. We have new town. We have Alanda Waf. Each of them with outposts.
Yeah.
And then from there it comes main Elubu here. Then we move all the way to Yakese, Sewum, Omampe, and Adieso. Okay. These are a vast geographical stretches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That brings me to something that I heard when we got here, that the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority is understaffed. You do not have adequate personnel to play that dual role, to execute that dual mandate of revenue mobilization and also checking security here at the borders. In fact, I am told that immigration personnel are even more than the personnel from the Customs Division of the GRA. How true is that?
That one is a stubborn reality we are faced here. A very stubborn reality that we are confronted here with. When it comes to staff strength.
Yeah.
Now, given the mandate that we have, the dual mandate of having to mobilize revenue, as well as having to manage security, border security, it's really a daunting challenge for us. Yes. And like the geographical expanse that I talked about, and the numerous what do you call it, unapproved routes that we have. Yeah, we really need personnel. But then unfortunately, recruitment is not forthcoming that much. And then the rate of attrition of officers, and then the fact that the staff, custom staff, is an aged staff. So we want an injection of vibrant and very, very energetic young men who will help us do that. That is it. Alternatively, for now, I think we should be talking about the deployment of technology to assist us. In our case, issues like even the deployment of drones, especially along the river, the Tano River, will help us a lot.
So aside from personnel,
yes.
You also have a problem when it comes to logistics.
Yes. Okay. Logistically, we are down. Okay. Now, if you look at most of the agencies, sister agencies that we have here, they are all actually furnished with things like all-terrain, what do you call it?
Quad bikes?
Quad bikes, all-terrain vehicles that enable them to go into the bush easily. Okay. We have problems with logistically, we have problems with motorbikes, quad bikes.
Okay, that reminds me. Yesterday, I went to one of the posts where your personnel are, Cocoville, I'm told it's called. And it's an unapproved route, and you have men there who patrol that area 24/7, who are stationed there actually.
Yes.
And there's no security post there. They sit in the dark, the place is poorly, illuminated.
So logistically,
lighting is poor.
So logistically, we are talking about all of these.
Do you have boats like canoes? Because you have to patrol
on the river.
On the river. Do you have canoes or boats?
We don't have canoes. We used to have canoes, or what do you call it? We used to have boats at Alan Wharf. They are all broken down, and there hasn't been any replacement since then. So we are actually having logistical problems, staff problems, and looking at the enormity of our mandate in border protection management is really an issue for us. We think that I will even take the occasion to actually express our heartfelt gratitude to the board, GRA board, and then custom top management for the recent training programs, that they have rolled out. On topics such as anti-smuggling techniques and things. I think we need to do more of that. We need to build capacity of our officers to be able to meet the current trend. Now, international trade volumes have increased.
Just to give an idea to our viewers where we are right now. So this is the main.
So right now this is the main yard. This is the bay, examination bay, where we do conduct examination for export and imports. Alike. And
so these vehicles are coming from?
These vehicles are coming from Côte d'Ivoire.
They are coming from Côte d'Ivoire. So you are checking to make sure that there are no contrabands,
Exactly. Okay. Like I said, dual mandate. We have to make sure that we do examination to be able to detect prohibitions and restrictions and all that. Certain items, and also to be able to execute our revenue. What do you call it? Assessment and things. So
and then
as we stand here, these trucks are all awaiting to go to the scan, to be scanned.
So that's the scanner.
So this is the scanner you see over there.
We'll be showing you the scanner shortly. So the trucks will go through the scanner. And if they go through the scanner, if there's any contraband, the scanner will reveal that.
Will reveal it.
And then what happens after from there?
And certainly, if it reveals it, then we do have to do physical examination. To ascertain, to be able to identify what it is. That is this. So that is what we do.
So, in spite of the challenges that you listed, you exceeded your target. I'm told you exceeded your target. Even before the year will end, your annual revenue target, you've exceeded it. How did you do that?
The fact that we're able to open our borders allowed inflows of trucks coming from the sub-region. And so normal, imports are taking place, are coming in. And so we are doing due diligence to be able to collect every revenue due thereon. Okay.
And then also, but we do a lot of export here as well.
Okay.
In fact, we do more export here than imports. Together with transit, the transit trade is also vibrant here.
Okay.
Yes, and we are hoping that if the other side of the border opens, then it means that we're going to do even much better.
Okay.
So it is our hope that potentially, if it opens, things will be much better here. Yeah, and even it will also go a long way to stem down the rate of, the surge of in smuggling.
Okay.
But in that case, people will have to come voluntarily with their things here instead of trying to pass the bush because of the closure of the border.
So, but what's making it possible for people to smuggle in spite of all the measures that you've put in place? Yeah, you talk about logistical challenge.
Yes.
You talked about lack of adequate personnel
and also
to execute your dual mandate.
Yeah. Also the fact that the communities we have here are mainly a youthful community that are highly unemployed.
Okay.
And so we'll say that smuggling now has become the order of the day for them as part of their.
So we don't have to go close, too close.
No, not
the
too
scanner
close because of radiation.
Radiation. And,
yes.
Okay.
See, when it starts to work, then it begins to give radiation effect. So so we stay here. This is the scanner, and that is what actually helps in trade facilitation in terms of our facilitating the way manner in which we do conduct our examination.
Okay.
So it is an asset. It's a real asset in our operations.
Okay.
Yeah. So we will have to go this way.
Okay.
And then after here.
Yeah.
After a truck is scanned, it goes through the fumigation machine over here. Okay. And that was, I think, it was part of the COVID sort of control measures put in place at the port here.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So after.
Yes.
With the issues that we talked about, the challenges and all of that, and how closely knit these communities along the borders are, unapproved routes also, serving as facilitating, helping the people to smuggle some of these things. Would you say some of your men are also complicit in, facilitating and helping these people get away with some of the item that they try to smuggle?
No, I won't say it's facilitation.
Okay.
It's complicit. They are being complicit.
Okay.
In border management, community management, border community management is a whole issue here.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we have cases times where the traditional people and the opinion leaders, of course, certainly when they have funerals and some of those things. They come to us to tell us, okay, we're picking some few rice, oil here and there to come and do. We are living with them here. And we cannot say they should come and account for every rice here. Certainly, we have, so that is how we manage them, okay? But that is not to say, if you break,
so there wouldn't be any community agitations.
So that there won't be, yes.
Okay.
But that is not to say you can accumulate it and try to send it over. We'll catch you. We have had a lot of arrests from our barriers, and then the patrol groups. In fact, we've had, I can say so far, we've had about getting up to 2,000 jerrycans. Okay. That's by 25 liters of cooking oil, and then about, I can say, 1,500 bags of rice that has been seized within the period under review.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you are able to seize these ones because of the systems that you've put in place here.
In fact, because of our staff strength, of course, we have coping strategy in our operations.
Okay.
Much of it is intelligence-led operations. You know, they need to cultivate informants who give us, in fact, very, very, very detailed information, and then we strategize and map operations accordingly. Yes.
Have you had any instances? Have you had any situation where there was a community agitation, where community members were not happy with how you are policing the borders? They're not happy because they want to, move
goods to another part and you didn't allow that?
Severally.
I heard recently.
Yes, recently there was a mob action as far as even the junior, what do you call it, barracks.
Okay.
Yeah, over some of these arrests that we made. Okay, we've had several of such, in fact, agitations, and that is how come I say we have coping strategy in managing the community itself.
Okay.
We've engaged them. We've engaged the chiefs. Okay, we've had several talks with the chief and opinion leaders, and then some of those who engage in the keke. The keke, what do you call it? The keke. So we've had a lot of engagement with them, and we've actually tried to continue to sensitize them through the churches and then the media.
Okay.
And actually, I will hope that I will pray that the media help us in this regard.
We talked about logistics. We talk about personnel. Infrastructure is also a problem.
Yes.
I understand that this is the office for the preventive unit.
Yes.
At this Elubo collection, the second busiest land border in Ghana. This is their office.
Yes. As for infrastructure, I mean, I think the least talked about the better, because we are just coping with, in fact, I must say some kind of mediocrity is here. This is just all about the preventive unit. This is what we have that houses the preventive unit. In fact, that is the unit that every operation here revolves around.
Okay.
In fact, this is what we have for them. And even the border in itself, you can see we have a lot of scattered containers all over the place.
Yeah.
It's really unsightly as a major border to this. It's quite disturbing. But that is what we have. We wish some injection of investments could be made to raise this block. Probably could have high rising blocks that could take care of all these various people. Here we have the GIF. This is the GIF head. Listen, and we have port health, we have banks, we have ICOMs, we have light weapon, small arms and light weapon commission over there, all scattered all over the place in small, in fact, temporary structures here at the border. Okay, and even here when we have heavy operations here of the trucks, the dust is so serious here.
Okay.
And so we will plead that probably if something could be done about it, it will really enhance our outlook here.
Okay, sure. So in wrapping up this conversation, key things you want: more personnel.
More personnel.
Okay. And then logistics.
Logistics.
Okay.
Possibly if we could deploy technology to assist in our operations. The preventive is made up of the K9, the counter-terrorist unit, the marine. Okay. And I think if we could resource all these preventive, components, smuggling would be drastically reduced.
Okay.
Yes, it will be drastically reduced, and now it will inject efficiency into our operation generally.
Okay.
Because as long as smuggling is reduced, then voluntary compliance will increase, and revenue will do what? Will also increase, and then all prohibitions and ban items that are not needed in Ghana will also be. And like I'm saying, if we really are resourced, counter-terrorism will really, they'll think twice. Because when they come and see all these guys well armed to teeth and patrolling all around, I think it is enough to scare all those terrorists, potential terrorists or extreme extremism or violence in our system.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I want to say a big thank you for giving us unfettered access to your facility and giving us some sense, an idea of your operations here, and what you do.
Yes.
I have so in 1 minute I have with me Principal Revenue Officer Lubo Collection. We're just going to have this conversation 2 minutes. So what would you say is the revenue situation here? How how well are you doing in terms of revenue, Elubo collection?
Yeah, thank you, Maxwell. Yeah, it's true. For now, and then we hit our targets the first week in September. We were able to hit our targets. Yeah, we did basically, even though we are understaffed, we were able to hit our targets. Here, we do more exports than the imports. But then, with the help of the scanner, we're able to consult items found in empty trucks and then loaded goods. Some are made description. We're able to detect them and all near to the benefits of the country in terms of revenue. And the reason to even to do some arrays on this fuel, because fuel Abidjan is cheap. It's in Cote d'Ivoire is cheap. So people decided to now resort to smuggling of diesel into Ghana. So far, we're able to collect over 300 jerry cans and then 2 drums of diesel, amounting to, when we sold to the public, these are flammable items, so we have to dispose of it. We realized that we have got a revenue of 34,500 to the state out of this. And then besides that, there are some mobile phones and other things that were detected by the scanner, and all this duty was paid and penalty revenue collected. So basically,
because fuel is cheap. Because fuel is cheap in Ivory Coast, you get some people trying to smuggle that into the country. And I hear food items as well, because it's cheap there, they want to smuggle it in here to Ghana.
Well, that is rice and then cooking oil. So our men at the various checkpoints, the routes, the unapproved routes, and then the barrier at Samina, not long from here, we're able to make some arrests. And in order to deter them from involving in this sort of smuggling activities. Yeah, it's true. Cooking oil is cheaper in Cote d'Ivoire, so a lot of them resort to, and they normally use the unapproved routes because the terrain is such a way that it's very difficult to police the terrain. We don't have an adequate staff. That is a problem. So the staffing problem is serious. We are seriously in need of staff, and then we have aging staff. We have aging staff in Customs Division of GRA, so we need the young ones to come. So we train them so that when we go, they take over from us. So that is also a problem. For instance, to check the law room, we're supposed to be 6 officers, but we are now 4. We are now 4. And then the preventive unit as well. And then here we have the law room, we have the TVI, we have the state warehouse, we have head loads, we have scan. We don't have men to even run the scan. We have the preventive units. And then we have the various gates, and then the various baggage halls. These are how we need men to man them. And then we have to send our officers on the unapproved route. We have the Cocoville, we have the SDA, we have Coco Under, and then I think the preventive officer will talk to that issue. Yeah. So in spite of all difficulties, we're able to achieve our target. Supposing we have the logistics and then we have the men, we could even do more. Yes, so we need more to do more.
For this. You need more to do more, not 4 more to do more. Thanks so much for talking to us. Yeah, we'll be talking to. So we'll be wrapping up the conversation here. We'll be ending the conversation here. But remember that on News Desk at 10 o'clock, we'll be speaking to the head of preventive at the Elubo collection, and he'll be giving us more education on the unapproved routes and what they are doing here at the Elubo land border to curb smuggling and then to stop people from using the unapproved route. But you had the officer in charge of general duties, you also had the principal revenue officer, and the main talk and the main conversation here, key points, takeaway point for me is that the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority is seriously understaffed. They need more men to do the work, to execute their dual mandates. They say they have an aging staff, and it's important for new recruitments, to inject fresh blood into the system. They're also talking about logistics. They have challenges with logistics like quad bikes for, patrols in terrains that are difficult. You also need drones to patrol the River Tunnel, for instance. And, they need more to be able to do more. They say that in spite of the challenges, they have exceeded their annual revenue target. We have some months for the year to end, but they have exceeded their annual revenue target. And they say when they are given more, they'll be able to do more. Reporting for JoyNews live from the Elubo land border. My name is Maxwell Agbagba. Over to you in the studio.
By my colleague there all the way in Elubo, that land border, western region, definitely bringing us the details of what the Customs Division of the Ghana Immigration Service is doing to curb this menace. Well, we're moving on now to have a conversation on CLOGSAG, that is the Civil and Local Government Service Association of Ghana, and what they've been telling government to stop interfering in their activities by placing unqualified people in their midst. That is what they say. We have Professor Ransford Jampo joining the conversation currently. Prof, a very good morning to you.
Hi, good morning.
It's been a while. I hope you've been well. Have you been in your holy village?
I'll be there today.
All right, Prof. So we'll just take a look at the presser as delivered, and then we'll come back to the pertinent issues. Let's watch this.
The lecture was organized to celebrate respected civil servant Nathan Kwao. CLOGSAG opted for the topic Abuse of Political Power in the Ghana Civil Service. Executive Secretary Isaac Bampardo said this has become an issue of concern.
Recruiting of party apparatchiks as consultants to perform routine civil service functions and paying them higher on-hand salaries, thus ballooning the civil service wage bill as reported in the 2020 Auditor General's report for MMDAs and MMDAs. Hindsight evidence reveals that the so-called ghost names that cannot be identified in the civil service payroll have turned out to be personal assistants of ministers. Related to the above, permanent consultancies for key functions of the services have been outsourced to party apparatchik consultants. This has compromised the quality of services provided by most civil service organizations, as they are undertaken without the required institutional guidance, expertise, and experience. Foreign training and development workshops meant to build the capacity of civil servants are also hijacked by politicians and their party apparatchiks to the detriment of the growth of the services. The ones they are not able to hijack are sabotaged to the disadvantage of the nation. Political appointments of chief directors and heads of departments to the civil and local government services contravenes the Supreme Court ruling on 14 June 2017.
Well, those are the thoughts shared as of yesterday. I'd like to pick your thoughts on these as of the comments that have been made before we get into what your thinking is moving forward. What did you make of this entire enterprise? Is this something that actually is happening?
First of all, so I want to commend the CLOGSAG for being bold enough to articulate some of these challenges. There have been challenges that have plagued the civil service for long, and oftentimes, even though people are aware of it, we don't talk about it because a lot of people these days are not too free, and when they want to speak their mind, they feel they may suffer some harm or whatever, and so they don't really want to speak their minds, and people are a bit scared or intimidated speaking against some of these things. But there are things that go on the politicization of the civil service. And so, preliminary comments, I'll say that they have done well bringing this to the fore. It is not with only this administration. It doesn't mean only with this administration. We have politicized our civil service from time immemorial, even before the inception of the Fourth Republic, or since the inception of the Fourth Republic up to now. We have politicized our civil service. And if I may go on, you see, the one who gave the idea or the formulation of the civil service is called Max Weber, the German sociologist who postulated on the need for us to have an administrative machinery of the state that would serve as a policy formulation and policy implementation body. So the civil service is supposed to be, first of all, formulating policies. If you have heads of its top echelons being there, they may have their ideas, but the civil service that would dispassionately weigh the pros and cons of the ideas and then process these ideas into well thought through policies. And then when they are formulated, they are the same people who help play a crucial role in implementing their policies. Now, to be able to ensure that policies are properly formulated and then they bring about effective and efficient administration of the state, the civil service is supposed to start by people who are experts and competent. Because the idea is that government will come, government will go, but policies and the state or nation building will go on, but must go on. And so you need a certain caliber of people who are competent and who wield expertise. Today, in this regard, Max Weber advocated that in determining who must staff the civil service, which he brought the principle we call meritocracy, as in the ones who are appointed to staff the civil service must be appointed based solely on merit. And so if you need a master's degree to be able to occupy a certain position, that is all you need. And then beyond meritocracy, they are also expected, civil servants are also expected to be apolitical in their dealings. As in partisan consideration must not be the factor in determining who must be appointed a member of the civil service. And politicians, according to Max Weber, are expected to stay off the activities of the civil service. When Weber says that the civil servants must be politically neutral, he does not mean that they must not vote during elections or they must not have political parties of their preference. But political neutrality on the part of the civil service is that connotes the idea that, look, they must not be seen openly and publicly to be identifying themselves with any political party. So civil servants are not supposed to say that we belong to party A or party B. They are not supposed to openly be seen to be adorned in party T-shirts and other party paraphernalia. They are not supposed to be seen at party rallies, and they are not supposed to be seen campaigning openly for any political party. But during voting, their vote is secret, so they can go and exercise their franchise. And so these are some of the things that Max Weber said about the civil service in order to make it a potent administrative machinery of the state. Unfortunately, in our part of the world, recruitment and appointment in the civil service have not been based on meritocracy. And then also we have politicized the civil service. And so one party comes, and because it has promised a lot of jobs to its own apparatus, the civil service becomes the avenue where these political parties then tend to appoint act their own party support base. So in the process, you have appointments not based on meritocracy, and you have square pegs often filling round holes. And so they are unable to function to deliver on the mandate of the civil service. That's the reason why if you go there, they have nothing to do. Most of them, they have nothing to do. Some are selling, some are gossiping, some are playing draft, and some are selling Sobulo, some are selling Asana, some are selling cloth, and they move from one office to the other, just marketing their work. And they have nothing to do because they are square pegs in round holes, because we have packed the civil service with them. Now, anytime another regime comes, like I said, they are supposed to be politically neutral, and then they are supposed to be experts. So anytime another regime comes, a new regime comes, it treats the civil service with contempt, because they feel that when they were there, they appointed their own people there, and they were not competent enough. The appointment was not based on meritocracy. So anytime another government comes, they treat the civil service with suspicion. And so they don't give them work to do. And that's the reason why you have a lot of consultants and special advisors being appointed by new regimes. It is a way of creating or recreating another civil service within the civil service. And so you pretend to go to work and be working, and government will pretend to be paying you. You pretend to be working, and yet at the end of the day, your productivity is zero, because the work that is supposed to be done by you would have been given to some other advisors or consultants. And so you get up in the morning, and because you have nothing to do, I know a civil servant who who gets up in the morning and loiter around, leave the house around Ashalipotri around 10 a.m. She gets to the office around 11:30 a.m., sits for 30 minutes. She goes for lunch, spends about 2 hours at the lunch. After lunch, she comes to pick her bag, and then drives, say, I live so far away. So then she picks a trotro and go home. They behave as if they are supposed to be seen to have been at the office, and then they don't do anything else, and they go home. And so, generally, this is how appointment not based on meritocracy and then politicization of the civil service, has landed us as a nation. So that now the civil service, even though the one who formulated it expected it to be a competent administrative machinery of the state, now it operates as a very toothless and very incompetent and inefficient administrative machinery of the state that only provides an avenue where people go there to earn a monthly salary without doing anything for the state.
Prof, thank you for that, underlying, thoughts on this all-important matter. But you rightly point out that it didn't start today. It's been going on, and government in, government out. This situation rears its ugly head. But would you say it is worse now? Is it worse now compared to what it used to be from what you know? Well,
we have not had CLOSAG. I don't remember hearing CLOSAG coming out with such a statement before, since the inception of the Fourth Republic. As far as I'm concerned, this is the first time you are hearing CLOSAG making such public pronouncements. And so, to that extent, you would say that then it's been worsened.
Right, so I agree with you there, because while there's been talk about it, never has the body, the umbrella body, come out like this. Does that point to how endemic this problem really has become?
Well, like I said, it's been there from inception of the Fourth Republic. It's always been there. But to the extent that you have a body now publicly having a press conference and talking about it, it tells you that it's been worsened. And it is not the best, it's not good for our public administration, the public administration system, of the country. And the earlier we do something about it, the better. The point is that if power changes hands, it will still continue. And so it's up to us to be able to, so you can imagine, it is up to us to be able to speak against it and ensure that we restore the civil service to its lost glory. We restore it to the ideal type as postulated by the German sociologist Max Weber. Because it is part of the sources of the drainage on our public purse. People are recruited to places or to government ministries, departments, and agencies. They go to the office, they have no work to do, and yet we keep paying them. And government also, because it does not trust in the competence of the civil service, because we have staffed it with our own, they tend to recruit their own consultants and advisors and special advisors and advisors to the consultants, and all manner of people parade themselves with all manner of designations. And like I heard them say, the salary or the amount of money that we take pays about 100 people. One person takes salary that pays about 100 civil servants. So at the end of the day, we just dissipate scarce national resources unnecessarily, just to pretend that we are maintaining a civil service, which in reality does not worth its salt.
So today you've taken me back to the classroom with Max Weber and all his teachings on politics and public administration and everything. But I also find it interesting because not too long ago we were talking about neutrality allowance, and all of a sudden now we are talking about political infiltration into the civil society. Let me also bring in, hold for me, Prof. Let me bring in Isaac Bampo, who is president of CLOSAG. He joins the conversation. Mr. Bampo, a very good morning to you.
Good morning.
How did we get here? To the point where CLOSAG, as Professor Jampo suggests, for the first time in the Fourth Republic, has to have a press conference like this and talk about the fact that your ranks are being infiltrated by people who are not even qualified, all through politicization?
Yeah, when you say how did we get here, well, I don't know how to answer this question because the politicians over time have been infiltrating our ranks. And every time there's a new government, we see more personal assistance and cumbering civil service positions. But this has been heightened by this recent time. And it's at an alarming rate, where we have typical institutions being created to power civil service institutions, creating some of our members, letting them be redundant. And this is an issue that has gone on for a long time. I think this is the time we want to talk about it because it's killing the service.
You want to talk about it now. Is it because the situation is worse now, or is it just because, I mean, what has triggered this?
Like an example, you go to Best and Desk registry, where I would say somebody who is not a career civil servant has not got any experience in best registration, has been imposed over there. You see, and all these things is killing morale, is demotivating our members. And these are issues that are in public domain. And I think what we are seeing is that it's time we do something about these things, or else we'll kill the service.
Tell me about how many people are we looking at who are unqualified, as you say?
When you go to the office, you see them walking on the corridors of they are there. They are all guru boys.
They are guru boys.
Where you find guru boys under the trees. Now they are sitting in our office.
So explain to me, hold on, let's have a conversation, Mr. Bampo. Explain to me, what exactly do they do? You say, I'm a bit confused. You say they are guru boys, now they are walking around and now they are sitting in your offices.
Yeah.
What exactly do they do?
They are doing the work that civil servants are supposed to do. You go to Minister of Finance, the internal auditor out there has been brought by the minister. You go to other places, you go to trade, chief directors, even they are bringing their own chief directors. And covering them into the service. Before you can come on secondment, it has to be approved. You cannot just bring someone and say the person is on secondment. It must be approved by the council. But you see them walking around. They say they are in there. Nobody has approved their secondment. And before you come on secondment, the civil service must know what work I come to do. That duty I come to perform. You have the same skill there, but all these things are being flouted. There are rules and regulations regulating all these things, but they are being flouted with impudence.
In other words, the
issue is that service delivery is going down. Service delivery is going down. You create parallel institutions. I can go on and go on. We all are aware of what's happening. And we filed two suits. Currently, we filed two suits, one at the Supreme Court, one at the High Court, on all these issues.
So obviously, there is some illegality taking place. Without the secondment, these people shouldn't even be there. So how do they get there?
Rules and regulations, when it comes to the civil service, are being flouted with impunity.
I get that, but my question is, how exactly?
We even gone to the court for the court to take a decision on this thing. So it's not an issue that we are manufacturing.
Mr. Bampo, I understand you, but my question is, how do they get in? Are there members of the civil service who are also complicit? If the political elements bring in people who are not qualified, my question is, how are they absorbed into the system?
I cannot say that. What I can say is that we are having these people, these guru boys, improving their position. If any civil servant is involved in bringing them, all of them must be dealt with. The important thing is that there are people who are not supposed to be there, and they are there. And they are disrupting services.
Do these people get paid at the end of the month from the government?
We don't know. Of course, if someone is coming there every day, that means they find a way of paying them, but they are not on the civil service payroll. Because I will not wake up in the morning and come to sit at a place if I don't get money. I won't go. But because every day I sit down and dress up then wear my coat and go and see. That means I get something there. So these are the issues. Thank you very much.
All right, so that's a very important point you made. I just had to clarify that because, recently at the finance ministry, shockingly, we found out that there were some ghost names, about 3 people drawing so much by way of monthly salaries and all of that. People who were not even at the ministry. So I just wanted to clarify. What then would you say is the way forward as far as this discussion is concerned? It is clear it is not just restricted to this administration, though it may be something that has come to the fore for you to now come out. How do we sanitize the system to ensure that come this party or that party, the political elements don't interfere? Will the court case solve that for you? It appears we've lost Mr. Bampo. We'll try and get him back for those final thoughts. Professor Jampo, so you see the picture as painted by Mr. Bampo. It is not one we would want, but it's happening. What is the way forward?
Well, like I said, this has been with us from time immemorial. And unfortunately, politicians have not done much in addressing it because they themselves, as I indicated earlier, have oftentimes gone on to make promises about giving people jobs, and also in tandem with our very disingenuous practice of patron-client relations. Anytime politicians get the opportunity to ascend them to the political throne, they always want to find places for some of their parachikis to be working as a way of paying them back for the support they offered them during the electioneering campaign process. And so we need a shift from this practice. We need a leader, somebody who would appreciate all these issues and tell us that, look, I truly would create jobs, but it will not be within the public sector. It will not be within the realms of the ministries, departments, and agencies, because that place is choked. We are told.
And that's an interesting point you make. Pardon the interjection. We must create jobs for the boys and girls, as the political parties usually say. And they will always look for these loopholes, right?
Yeah, no, so I'm saying we must create job openings, but certainly not within the realms of the ministry, department, and agencies, because they are choked. Oftentimes, we are told that about 98% of the people who seek jobs at the former public sector do not get. And there's only about 2% who get out of school and then find openings there, legit in a regular recruitment process. The rest who find themselves there are surreptitiously smuggled there by their political paymasters and the political elite. So the point is that we will need somebody who appreciates these challenges and say that we cannot continue to do it over and over and over again. I mean, if people are not working, they are not supposed to be paid. It's as simple as that. And we cannot be deceiving ourselves that we have a civil service when we know that in reality we do not have. And we cannot go on with the practice of oftentimes creating another civil service that is more expensive to run parallel with the regular civil service. That's what is happening now. If power changes hands now, the new regime that will come would also say that we don't trust those who are there because they were appointed by our predecessors. And so it is because per their principles, they have what we call security of tenure. It becomes difficult for you to fire them. They will be there, but they will not be given work to do. Instead, new regime would create another civil service that will run power with them. So there is this distrust and all that. So it is important we have leadership. See, one of the solutions that will help us fight the quagmires of poverty and underdevelopment and help us govern ourselves well is a certain leadership that also understands the problems that confront us as a nation. It appears that leaders do not also have a firm grasp of all the problems that confront us as a people. And so some of these things continue to recur and they are a needless drain on the resources of the nation.
Well, hopefully we are able to get, leadership to crack the whip, if it is even possible on that note. But Prof, we're grateful that you took the time to engage us this morning. Professor Ransford Jampo, political scientist at the University of Ghana. Grateful for your time. Well, up next, we'll be taking you to the LWAC Stadium. And why? I'm sure when you hear LWAC now, it's almost commensurable with SIM card re-registration. Well, that is exactly why we're taking you there. My colleague Michael Ashale is there, and it's all about ending this month, SIM card re-registration being over, and the crowds that we see there. We'll be taking you there now.
At LWAC, where most people are here in a rush to get the primary document, I would say the only document you need to go through the SIM card registration exercise, the Ghana card. Most of them are here hoping to get their Ghana card for the very first time. For some of them, they've gone through the process after they've misplaced it, and they are hoping to get the Ghana card. Else, they miss Estela Owusu's deadline, which is today and is going to be in just in a few hours. And let me speak to some of them on what the expectations are. Will they be able to make it, forgetting that there's a longer queue when you get to the SIM card registration centers? Yeah, Bossman, how long have you been here?
An hour ago.
An hour ago. Have you moved at all?
No.
You haven't moved?
Yeah.
But have you registered your SIM card?
Yeah.
You have. How are you able to do that? You are here to collect your Ghana card.
Yes.
So how are you able to register your SIM card?
I didn't do it here, but I came to escort my friend.
Oh, okay. You came to escort your friend. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so let me speak to some people. Bossman, how long have you been here?
This is my fifth time.
Can you turn and face the camera for me? How long?
Today is my fifth time. Now I was here.
Why this is you like coming to the LWAC?
Come again.
I'm asking you, is it that you enjoy coming to the LWAC while you are here for the fifth time?
No.
Why are you here 5 times?
I'm here. Today is my fifth time because of my Ghana card.
What's happening to it?
Now I came, they told me I should come so July come. I came today my last day I came. I don't know what is going to happen to me today. So today, if I didn't get it today, then I think they will send me to military barrack.
Why? All this one you come, what did they tell you?
I should go and come. I should go in 2 weeks. Fifth time today.
So 2 weeks, 5. That will be 10 weeks.
Yes. Ask them. When you go to ask the reason why this, they'll tell you you are to know. But today is my last day of my coming here.
I only pray that doesn't end in chaos or violence. So you haven't registered your SIM card?
No. How can I register it? Because what I'll get before I register it is here. I can't get it, so I didn't register it.
I didn't get your name.
Yeah, Sobojo. Yeah, Alex
Sobojo. Okay, Alex. So right now, what would you say? Because the deadline is today in a few hours, and when the telcos close.
This is the reason why I want to ask them before, because I have nothing to tell the Abine that I didn't get my card. So if today I didn't get it, then they have something to tell the Abine. So those who are in charge of blocking the card, and then they should be very careful.
Why should they be careful? You've already threatened that you are going to be at barracks.
Be very careful. That people who are going to have authority to block the cars today, they should be very careful.
See, Alex, I'll come back to you. Don't go anywhere. I'll ask you what exactly you're going to be doing next. But there are some more people here who are definitely not happy about the system, like Alex, who's been here for 10 weeks, he tells me. What's your name?
My name is Reverend Joshua.
Reverend, why are you here?
I'm here for the card. I've done it last 3 months, and I've been here several times. But anytime I come, they postpone it that the card is not ready yet. And today also I'm here.
So when was the last time you came here?
I came here last month. Yeah, last month.
They told you to come today?
Yes, they say it's not ready, so I should come today, and I'm here. I'm still here. Since morning I came here even before 5 o'clock. And I'm still here.
And you are just in front of the queue. How long will it take you to get to with the attendants?
They are calling names. Probably, I don't even know. But maybe any time from now, maybe I will be called.
I see. Yeah. But I see that earlier you were telling me you're not happy about the process. What's your grievances?
Honestly, in fact, the whole process, I'm not happy at all. Because how can somebody who pick up, as I'm talking to you, I'm from Ningo Pram Pram, and I'll pick up from there to this place. I'll leave all my church activities. To that I'm talking to you, I have a program to attend. You see the way I'm dressed from here to the program straight, because I don't know the time I'll even, finish what I'm doing. So it's a whole lot. You pick car, you come here, they say it's not ready, you come and spend your whole day here without doing anything. And Ghana here, when you miss a work just a day, they will deduct you from your salary. We are all working. So if you can leave your work and you come here the whole day, come and spend the whole day here, then you are losing. And when you came here also, there are things that are going on. People will just be passing by, you'll just be sitting down, they will call somebody that you think the person come and meet you here. And you don't understand the whole issue.
Have you registered your SIM card though?
Not yet. Yeah, the Ghana card is not ready. How can I register my SIM card?
But they're going to block you regardless. 5 p.m. I want to believe that when the talk was closed, that's the end.
That is why today I'm here. So that probably if maybe before that time I was able to get my Ghana card, I can rush to the MTN center to go and register my SIM.
Say you don't get it, what's going to be your next line of action?
I don't really know. That is what we are saying, that this whole thing that they are doing is something that is frustrating. Because how can you block my SIM card whilst I don't have the Ghana card to register? It's not like I don't want to. But the thing, I don't have the Ghana card to do the thing. So if you block my SIM that I've been using for years, that people knows as my pastor now, people can call that a number for me to pray for them and all that. And now we are going to block that card. So the whole thing is something else. So I don't know how it's going to go about. So let's wait and see the 5 p.m. or to be the outcome.
So right now, how will you reach the people if your SIM card is blocked? How are you going to reach the people who want prayers from you?
Honestly, yesterday I wrote some of the numbers that I will need. I wrote them down on my diary so that I may not lose those contacts. So that probably if maybe I get the Ghana card, if they block this one, maybe I can go and get another SIM card. Then I will put their numbers back.
Thank you very much. So just to give you an indication of how many people are here, this is just a handful of the number of people at the Elwak Sports Stadium waiting for their Ghana card. At least these are the fortunate few who have been given a date to come for their Ghana card. Well, they are hopeful that they'll get it anyways. There are many other people who are just at the beginning of the process. Here just to give you an idea that for this area, for SIM card replacement and for those that are coming to collect their Ghana card, if the replacement process is done. So at the beginning, you have to come here with your police reports, filing that you've misplaced your Ghana card. They give a report, then you bring it, and that's when you begin the process in itself. So it's about 5 different queues that you have to join before you get to the end. And Alex already told me that it's been very difficult for him. 10 weeks, several referrals, 5 referrals in all, and every single time he comes here, he's been told to come again. Today's the deadline. Well, he's not willing to take another postponement for the collection of his Ghana card here. So you can see how slow the process is here for some of these individuals as well. Bossman, are you coming to take your Ghana card?
Yes, sir.
This is your first time coming here?
No.
How many times have you been here?
It's my 2 times now.
Second time. What was the last time you came here?
I think a month ago.
A month ago. What were you told at that time?
They said they've done it, but they are waiting for approval. So I had to wait. So until it's approved, I think I was told 3 days ago that it has been approved. That's the reason why I came for it. So. But
you've been here. How long have you been here today?
Barely 30 minutes.
Like 30 minutes. And you've gotten your card already?
I'm here too.
You are here too.
I'm buying a code from which they use the code to process my card for me.
Process your card?
Yeah.
For you. I see. So have you registered your SIM card though?
I've done it.
Registered your SIM card. How were you able to do that?
Well, I did it early on. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Okay, then good for you then. I must say that this deadline does not really matter to you then. So for some people here, they can only dream of making it to the deadline that has been set later in the day. Let me speak to some of them. Bossman, how long have you been coming here?
Today is my 3rd day.
Your 3rd day coming here. So when did you start the process? I want to believe that you brought your police report first.
Yes, I brought it.
And when was that?
About a month ago.
You brought your police report a month ago, and you are now getting to the last but 2 stage. You have about 2 more stages to go.
Yes, please.
Have you registered your SIM card?
No, please.
How are you going to do that?
I don't know how it's going to happen. I'm even confused because I don't know whether it will be disconnected from today, after today, as they said. So that's my worry now.
You're not sure whether it will be blocked or not? Is that what you're saying? I mean, the minister was emphatic that she's even reluctantly giving you an extension of the deadline, which was 2 months ago.
Yes, so that's why I'm saying that I'm confused, because if it is being blocked, it will worry me a lot. So I'm hoping to get my Ghana card as soon as possible to go and re-register the SIM.
Let me understand something. How important is your SIM card to you?
It's very important. I use it that is what I use for everything. Yes, please.
And if it's taken away from you, what would it mean to you? What would the effect be?
It will worry me a lot. It will worry me.
I didn't get your name though.
Prosper Bonsu.
Prosper. Thank you very much for speaking to us. Let me speak to some females here. It doesn't seem to be only just gentlemen in the queue. Madam, please, what's your name?
Otsu Gladys. Otsu Gladys.
Okay, Gladys, how long have you been here?
Like an hour ago.
An hour ago?
Yes, please.
This is not your first time coming to the LWAC?
No, please.
How many times?
Twice. Yes.
And this is how far you have come with the process. Have you registered your SIM card?
No, please.
How do you intend to do that?
Michael Papani Ashale at LWAC talking to some Ghanaians who are trying to register their SIM cards and also get their Ghana cards. But here in studio, the UK Boarding Schools Week Ghana from Wednesday, October 5, put together by Mark Brooks Education, has a very exciting program for us. And joining me in studio is Mark Brooks, who is the director of Mark Brooks Education, and we also have Dominic Oliver, who's the headmaster at Lansing College. Gentlemen, good morning and thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, lovely to be here.
All right.
Thanks for inviting us.
It's only a pleasure. Now let's talk about, we're talking that you've been here like 5-6 years.
Yes.
And how has this been, how has Ghana been for you?
Well, kwapa is a very important word in Ghana, and we feel very welcome to be back here again. I feel very at home in Ghana. It's fantastic. And I love the food as well.
You love the food. What's your favorite Ghanaian dish?
Well, jollof rice, and I think it's the best rice in West Africa, so it's very exciting.
Don't let the Nigerians scare you. You know there's a jollof war between Nigerians and Ghanaians?
I've heard of that.
So you're part of the Ghana team?
Yes.
Okay.
And plantain bananas as well.
Plantain and bananas.
Well, so.
Okay. And Dominic, you tell me that you arrived last night.
Last night,
and it's your first time in Ghana.
My very first visit to Ghana. I hope the first of many.
All right. And talking about dishes, what would you like to try?
Well, someone's recommended I should try red.
Okay.
And I had a look at what that might be. It looks fascinating. I'd love to give it a go.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk about the reason you're here. Why are you in Ghana?
Well, I'm here to run UK Boarding Schools Week, which is supported by the UK's Department for International Trade, as I'm a DIT export champion. And we're bringing more than a dozen schools with us who land on Monday to run 2 events. We have a teacher training, leadership training event on Tuesday the 4th of October at the Kempinski Hotel in the afternoon. And then the next day, on the 5th of October, we have a boarding school exhibition, and that's for families who are thinking about boarding schools in the UK. And they can come and meet schools such as Lansing College and other schools. He'll be there as well.
So what's the selling point? Why should Ghanaians leave Ghana to come to the UK to study?
Well, there's 3 reasons. Firstly, British boarding schools offer academic excellence and fantastic results, and fantastic teacher training and fantastic results. The second thing is co-curricular excellence. So there's opportunities in sport, drama, dance, music and other elements. And thirdly is the fantastic environment, an international community. So you're working and living alongside students from other countries.
Okay. Now, Dominic, as a headmaster, what are you looking out for?
In prospective students?
Yes, in prospective students.
Well, actually, we are a very globally engaged school. We have over 40 different nations represented, including a good chunk of people from West Africa. We have wonderful alumni who've come from Ghana and other West African countries. So we have a desire to maintain our outward global focus.
Okay.
And we're looking for people who are prepared to come and enjoy a really full and rich life in our school. And I think that's probably parallel for all boarding schools. Lancing has just won an award for the breadth of the co-curricular activities that's on offer. That's a big part of us. Academic excellence is there. But there's also a desire to help to shape young people to have a real impact in the world. And lots of Ghanaian families are co-located. They're here in Ghana and also overseas, perhaps in London. And that works really well. Our school works really well for them.
Okay, now why Ghana? Why did you come to Ghana?
Well, I think there's two reasons. Firstly, we have a lot of common with Ghanaians. We're part of the Commonwealth, and there's fantastic ties between the UK and Ghana in terms of trade, British business. Ghanaians are coming to the UK all of the time. So there's trade ties, but also the what we've got in common is education. Education is the #1 priority for children in Ghana, and it's the thing that all parents talk about. And in the UK, education is #1 priority as well. So we're on this kind of the same playing field and same page in terms of that. Secondly, it's a really good question, Maps, because what also Ghanaians bring to the UK boarding school sector is hard work, brilliant at sport, support of parents, leadership potential. Often they become head boy or head girl of the school or senior prefects. And actually, we want more Ghanaian students in the UK because of what they bring and the fantastic positive influence they have on our school sector as well.
Yeah. So you talk about, taking the students to the UK, but besides that, how do we, measure the success of the program?
Well, if I may cut in, our alumni do wonderful things. I had lunch with a Ghanaian alumnus the other day. He is a KC, King's Counsel now.
Okay.
For example, we have a very, very eminent former member of the school who is Ghana's current head of state, and we're very proud of that. He's probably the most famous current OL, as we call them.
Lovely.
And that's one of the reasons I'm here, because actually I think we have this rich heritage and tradition. And people can aspire, if they come to Lancing, to the greatest roles and the greatest responsibilities. It doesn't get much more responsible than that, I guess.
And how long have you been running this?
Well, I've been running education events and consultancy for the last 20 years, and I've been working in West Africa for 14 years.
Okay.
And that's all I do now is run a consultancy helping individual families find boarding schools in the UK. And I've placed nearly 60 students just this September, which is very exciting.
Very, yeah.
And and the students' ages from 11 to 18.
Okay, so now if a parent is watching and would like their child to be part of this, how can they go about it?
Well, to come to the event on Wednesday, they just go to my website, which is markbrookseducation.com and /Ghana, and there's a page there about how to register and more information about the event. Or they can turn up at the Kempinski Hotel at Wednesday afternoon, the 5th of October.
Okay, now when we're looking at religion and values and morals, two different. Ghana and UK, very different. How do we ensure that the Ghanaians leaving here, or how do you instill that sort of, or ensure that they are strengthened and supported by the school?
Yeah. So the flyer that I think is on screen right now, the big building you can see there, that is our school chapel. It's the biggest school chapel in the world. It's right at the heart of how we function. And I think that sense of spirituality, of religious belief. Not everybody has the strongest religious belief, but actually that core sense of what is ethical and right, that is right at the heart of how we educate the whole person. And I think that would be something shared across a lot of boarding schools. We're particularly proud of the beauty of our space and the fact that it's somewhere that people can go, can be centered, can think carefully, can reflect. We use it in that way. But also we have a prayer room for those of the Islamic faith at school. So we're very open and respectful of everyone's beliefs. and exploratory too. I mean, part of a true education institution is that we as leaders of the learning need to keep learning ourselves, and that's partly why I'm here. I'm spending time tomorrow at a conference at Ghana International School where not only will I be presenting, but I will be hearing fellow professional educators, and they'll be educating me.
Now, let's talk about, you know, it must be very, not uncomfortable, but very scary for someone to leave Ghana, come to the UK as a 14, 15-year-old. How do you know, comfort them? What are some of the things that you guys do to make sure that they feel at home?
The key thing, I think, is England is a little bit chillier when it comes to the weather.
Definitely.
But actually, my school, Lancing, we are proud, we absolutely pride ourselves on the warmth of the nature of how we work.
Okay.
It's quasi-familial. You come to, and I think Mark talks similarly about this, you come to our school and you join the Lancing family. So there will be students who've been in the same situation just a few months or a year before who will put their arm around there. They'll be the formal mentors for the new students. And contact with home in these days of the internet is very straightforward. So it's all encouraged. There's a sense of partnership and working together. Clearly it's a big geographical move, but we hope that there's obvious differences, but there's a lot of familiarity too. Amidst all the joy and the busyness, there's a lot of familiarity. And people are really busy. It's a rich life, it's very full, and it's a common experience that we have to encourage people to be getting in touch with home because there's so much fun going on. That they have to be encouraged, you know, your mum would like to hear from you. So that's more of an issue, I think, than homesickness.
Oh, okay, that's good. So how many students are you looking at taking? Do you have a number, certain number? Do you have a target?
I'm not very commercial, so don't believe in targets or numbers and things. Just if anyone wants to join, they can. And really, that's what, in terms of Nigerians and Ghanaians in British boarding schools, it's about 1,500 so far.
Oh, wow.
And I think what the British boarding schools we're looking to bring across on Monday, we'd be delighted if 1 or 2 join each school as a result of the events that we're doing. Because they bring such a positive influence and it's fantastic value.
Okay. So if I can't come to the event, I can still go to your website and check out the details, or do I have to be present as a parent? Do I have to be present at the workshop?
You don't have to be present. There's an evening workshop as well that they can come to if they're working during the day. And it's a free evening reception, but I work 24/7, 365 days a year, helping families find British boarding schools. So they can go to my website and make contact with me, and I will put them in touch with fantastic schools who'll be delighted to help them, including Lancing and the dozen that are coming on Monday.
Before I let you go, what has been your biggest challenge in doing this?
I think international travel still isn't back to what it was before. So I think people remembering to apply for visas on time, booking flights and COVID tests and things, still is getting back familiar with it again. So that's the biggest challenge we faced this time. But we've had the support of the Department for International Trade, who've been fantastic all along the way. And it's been a challenge, but it's gone smoothly as well. And everyone's very, very excited to be coming back here.
Okay. And
I think
Dominic?
the biggest challenge is letting people know that just because it looks sort of old and traditional, it's not fusty. We're normal people, we're outward looking, we're very technologically switched on, we're really connected. And I think getting people to have a conversation with us, to come and see us or talk to us on Zoom, all of these breaking down of barriers, that works really, really well. You know.
Mark Brooks, any last words from you?
No, it's just great to be back, and we want to get the point across that we're here to develop partnerships. We're not just here to encourage students to join British boarding schools. We're looking for partnerships between schools in Ghana and the UK. And if you're ahead, you're welcome to come and visit the event as well and talk about partnerships with the schools too.
Okay, Dominic?
An echo of that. I think my experience of dealing with people from West Africa, from Ghana in particular, has been incredibly rich, incredibly fulfilling. And I'm looking forward to that continuing to develop over the next days, weeks, months, years.
Yes. All right. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time.
Thank you.
And in studio, my studio guests were Dominic Oliver, who is the headmaster of the Lansing College, and also Mark Brooks, who's the director of Mark Brooks Education. Let's go to Kumasi now. We're all set for the Love FM Habitat Fair. It starts today and it will end on Sunday. Organizers and exhibitors are upbeat about the opportunity to offer patrons quality and discounted products and services. Mona Lisa Frimpong joins us.
Their wares to display. So before we speak to a number of them, let's move to Patricia Bones, who happens to be part of the organizing committee of the Habitat Fair. Pat, I know a lot went into the planning. Can you tell me what we should expect day one?
One thing I would say is that for the next 3 days, that's today to Sunday, that is the 2nd of October 2022, I mean, people in Kumasi and outside of Kumasi should expect a lot when it comes to trying to own their own homes. This is because for the Love FM Habitat Fair, we've brought together everybody who matters in the estate and construction industry. So talk of people who are into water systems, litigating free land. When you come here, you're going to get to speak to people who are into it. And we have, most importantly, 2 headline sponsors. We have DBS Industries, you know, when it comes to building blocks, when it comes to so many amazing things, when it comes to building your home, DBS is one place that you need to go to. We also have Republic Bank coming on board with their mortgage product. And so you are really sorted when it comes to even financing. You might be asking yourself, okay, so I have built my house to a particular point, but then I don't even know what to do or how to continue because you're probably cash strapped or anything. Just come to the Love FM Habitat Fair today, happening at the Kumasi City Mall, and we are closing at 8 p.m. But I even think that until the last person leaves, you are not even leaving. So come here and enjoy free stuff. Come here and enjoy discounted products. Come here and enjoy so many services when it comes to housing and also getting a place to lay your head. It's very important. I mean, I think the last time we checked, the housing deficit was around 1.5 million or so. And so you know that definitely people are worried about where they'll put their heads at the end of the day. Please come here, join us. Let's go. Let's get you litigation free land. Let's get you huge discounts. Let's get you anything that you need when it comes to housing in Ghana.
Okay, and Pat, there's this notion that events such as these, real estate events, is for, in quotes, a preman for people who are well-to-do.
Let me stop you right there. Look, this is for everybody. And when I talk of everybody, it's for the lady who is selling water in traffic. It is for that gentleman who is a mason right now. It is for somebody who works at the bank. It is for the doctor. It is for government workers. It is for private sector people. It is for everybody who owns their own business. It's just say, yeah, be and free, whatever that you do. You can't even be a student. Just come and we will help you to own a home. So we are not restricting it to people who have money or people who are bourgeois. Everybody is welcome here at the Kumasi City Mall. And the thing is that it is free of charge. Nobody is going to charge you a penny to be a part of this exhibition or this fair. So please don't say, okay, this is for big people, this is for people who have money. No, everybody is invited. You, myself. So just tell a friend to join us at the Kumasi City Mall today, tomorrow, Saturday, and of course Sunday.
Okay, so as you heard Pat said, this event is open to everyone. So let me move to the stand of some exhibitors to find out what they have for us. And I've spotted Pneumafix. Okay, so sir, I know you've displayed an array of products here. Let's say I'm a lay person. Can you explain to me what most of them are used for?
One, this is Pneumafix Enterprise. We deal in tile cement, waterproof grout. But the big one is Pneumafix Anti-Salt. Pneumafix Anti-Salt.
And what does the anti-salt do?
You know, when people are building, they build without considering that there is water and salt. So after they've put up the structure in few years, then it begins to eat into the structure. When you call on Pneumafix, we have a product that will deal with that. Especially in Kumasi here, matese ahano insio asasinum enti se wudan no purupuru inchini insio no etete wa Pneumafix ye de biaba Kumasi bomodi anabra Habitat Fair ha na oba ye benya ehun edro di amount na odi aye.
And at what point in time would I need this one, the Pneumafix grouts?
When you finish with your structure and you lay your tiles, This is what they used to fill in between the laid tiles. This is pneumatic grout. Yes, it fills that space between the two laid tiles for your tiling work. This is also for another product for waterproofing, right? So it also, just like the anti-salt, this has waterproofing components. Anti-salt has two, salt neutralizer and waterproof components in it, right? So if you already have a land and you want to build, it is best to apply the anti-salt from your foundation level before you even think about plastering and everything. If you don't do that, in the next few years, you will be faced with the dump challenge. The rising dump will come up because the salt and the water are coming from the ground. And when they come, they are no respecter of person. They are no respecter of whatever. If you don't apply pneumatics, anti-salt, and you go ahead to build, you are surely going to face that kind of challenge in the near future. We are calling all people in Kumasi that you come, and if you're having that kind of challenge, we will assist you to deal with it.
Okay, and let's talk about its affordability.
Yes.
You know, I know when it comes to cement, waterproof cement and anti-salt damp, it might be quite, people might see it to be expensive.
It is not expensive at all, not expensive. This is going for 25 cedis. Oh, low cost okra helpful to football. And to be amra no messy se binkoye no on fan koye na juma no etete no.
Okay, thank you very much, Pneumafix. So I move on to the next stand. I've spotted Raincoat Roofing Systems Limited. I have a beautiful lady by me. So, Madam, good morning. My name is Mona Lisa. Can I know what Raincoat Roofing System? I know it's mobile nine, so yes, I need not ask. But I mean, why the name Raincoat? TBB, you know.
Mona, thank you so much. My name is Audrey, and good morning to your listeners too. So Raincoat, just like that name depicts, it's raincoat. We believe when you're under raincoat, there's no way water will touch your body or wherever you are. So that is why the name Raincoat. And when we are into roofing, we believe when it comes to roof or when it comes to building, you have to be very careful whatever you are using for the roof. So because we believe that the beauty of a house starts with a great roof. So if you have a great roof, then it means you don't have any problem in terms of anything that is going to affect your building. So that is why the name Raincoat. And we believe in quality, in terms of durability, in terms of color stability, in terms of rust and all that. You don't have a problem at all. You are assured if you go for Raincoat, you have your total peace of mind. That is our hallmark. Yeah.
Okay, and I've spotted these items here. What are they?
Okay, so these are the materials that we use. It's a thickness of 0.5. That's the thickness of the material. And it's not just about the thickness. You're even saying that what makes up the material itself? What are the compositions? What is in there? Is it just ordinary alu zinc? Is it just aluminium or no? So what we have here, we have 4 components. It has the aluminium, it has the zinc, it has the silicon, and then we have the magnesium. So what the magnesium does to the alu zinc is that it activates the aluminium from corroding. So that is the beauty or the good thing about Raincoat products. Yes.
Okay, so you had Raincoat roofing sheets, and then I'm sure they have affordable packages for everyone. So if you're listening or watching me, kindly come to the Kumasi City Mall for all these exciting packages that Raincoat Roofing Systems have for you. I'm at another stand and I see Norax, and they are in their Crojan t-shirts. Excuse me, is Crojan a true word? Because yes. Crojan. Okay, so Crogen means, I think it'll be something to do with filtering. Okay, so tell me what Norax Company Limited have to offer.
Okay, so hello, good morning. I'm Yaira from Norax Crogen, Ghana. So we are trying to advertise this out there because of the kind of water we use of late, which is too bad for our health. It causes infection and a whole lot. When you look at this, you see it removes iron, lead, and all those kind of things. So this is how it looks like. So it has different kinds of adapters in it, which will fit all the tap mouth. So someone might ask, what if it doesn't fit the tap mouth? That is why we have different adapters, which will best fit the tap mouth. All you need to do is to just fix it. This is how it looks like. It's ceramic. It's ceramic. So all you need to do, it filters it like this. Look at it. It filters it like this and make it so neat. So with this, you can even drink it, use it to wash your vegetables and a whole lot. It's everywhere on Facebook, IG, everywhere. We're in Kumasi here as well, at Jusuzongo Junction Day. So we are trying to advertise it out there so that at least everybody can get one in their kitchen, in their washroom, in their bathroom to save our health.
I know your products are good, but Charlie, let's talk about the affordability.
It's very, very affordable. In fact, we are running a promo. 60 cities. So when you buy 2, we dash you extra 2 of this. That is the good news of it. So with this, it's mini. With this, when you are traveling, you think the water is not safe for your health. All you need to do is just insert it, and you are good to go. Yes.
Thank you very much. Well, you had 60 cedis for Crogen filter. I've spotted the marketing manager of multimedia, Sir Max. So, Sir Max, I know these 3 days is going to be very exciting. I know there are lots of exhibitors here, but you being the master planner, I mean, what should we expect from the 3 days?
All right. I think, like you said, all the sets business has already started. About I would say 90% of the exhibitors have already set up, and we are expecting 3 days of serious business. We have assembled virtually everybody in the housing value chain, land acquisition, from land acquisition through the building to roofing and to home appliances. We even have people selling water filters here. So it means everything housing. And so we are assuring our patrons of 3 days, patrons and exhibitors of 3 days of serious business. For the exhibitors, yes, we are guaranteeing them a lot over 10,000 patrons. And for the patrons, we are guaranteeing them a one-stop shop for everything housing.
Sure, thank you very much, sir. As Max said, 3 days of serious business. So if you're in the house, kindly make time to come to the Kumasi City Mall if you want solution to all your housing needs, anything pertaining land acquisition, building, roofing, what have you. So that's all I can report for now at the Kumasi City Mall. Over to you.
There at the Kumasi City Mall. Make sure that you do join them. The whole week they will be there if you are in Kumasi and you know that it's Habitat Fair, where you live matters. On that note, we're going to take a quick break. And all too soon, we have reached the end of a fantastic week and a great show, Benjamin. It's been awesome. It's been awesome.
It's been one of those very enjoyable shows. A lot to talk about, from the clock sag bit and you know, the infiltration, political infiltration, year in, year out, regime in, regime out, and all the other matters we discuss make us very relevant, right?
Yeah.
We always have stuff
to talk about. What was your top story for the week before we leave?
Top story. Can I just fish out one? Galamsey would be one of them.
Galamsey.
Definitely.
Galamsey is like top story for like every week, every day. Yeah.
And there's also that situation I just read on My Joy Online. So the Mankesim situation, the pastor and the chief.
Yeah.
apparently they've admitted that they've killed other people.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, hectic. Well, that's terrible.
I don't know, it just left a very sour taste in my mouth.
That is terrible.
Sour to the very... But anyway, let's celebrate some people right before we go.
Definitely.
In fact, one person. Happy birthday to Seth Anani of Bank of Ghana. Seth Anani of Bank of Ghana. And this is from Anani Mauli Abraham of our very own stock. He wishes you the very, very best. We too wish you the very best, Seth. Have a wonderful birthday. God bless you.
Talking about birthdays, one of our cameramen, Fruits, it is your birthday. Happy birthday to Fruit, one of our cameramen. And this one is from Richard. Is it?
It's from all of us. It can't be from just one person. It's from all of us to Fruit. I always ask him which fruit he is, a grapefruit? And then he, of course, his name isn't spelled like the fruit, but I tease him.
Yeah. All right, so happy birthday to you, Fruit. We appreciate your hard work. And on that note, thank you so much. It's been a fantastic week. It's been a fantastic show. You always choose us, and we are very, very, very grateful for that. Benjamin, it has been a pleasure doing this with you. Up next is Ernest Kojomenu with News Desk.